Biggest news in the world of sports.
And plenty of that Marty McGee type stuff.
Like the Hillbilly headlines.
And some of the craziest callers you've ever heard in your life.
It might be the only reason to wake up that early on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, for sure. It's Marty and McGee.
From 7 to 10 Eastern.
On ESPN Radio and the SEC Network.
WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you going to miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WYNG studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. No Kev Nash today, out on vacation. The show brought to you by Orion Sports Medicine. Happy Friday. How are all of you? Welcome in, buckle up. We close out the week with a big show today. We'll hear from former Ohio State Buckeye John Diebler coming up here in just over an hour. I was chatting with him earlier today. We're trying to iron out a final time. I know it'll be in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll hear from him as Carmen's crew, the Ohio State Buckeyes TBT 19, they will kick off, or tip off, I should say, their TBT run tonight at 9 o'clock. And, of course, you can catch it right here on 1410 Wing AM. I'll be heading to Columbus immediately following the show today. And I'll be hopping on the call for the Columbus game. I'm sorry, in Columbus for Carmen's crew. And then tomorrow, Norm Greavy and I will be on the call for the Red Scare Dayton Flyers game. So we're really pumped about that. It's the TBT on WING. You can watch all TBT games for all teams on ESPN's family of networks. So we're looking forward to having the radio call, at least here, for the two teams we cover here locally. Again, Ohio State, Carmen's crew, as we are Dayton's home, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and then with the Dayton Flyers alumni team, the Red Scare. They'll be in action tomorrow. You can catch that right here on 1410 Wing AM. All TBT coverage on the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Timothy's Bar and Grill. Keep that in mind. So, very weird day for a Friday. I knew that the Cleveland Indians were looking to change their name. We knew that. Some have resorted to referring to them as the Cleveland baseball team, just like what we saw in the National Football League with the Washington football team, right? And actually, I'm not going to lie, I don't like the Cleveland baseball team. I don't really like the ring of that. I have no issue if the Washington football team just sticks with the Washington football team. It really doesn't sound that bad, to be honest with you. The Cleveland baseball team, no. Now let's be clear. The Cleveland Indians will no longer be the Cleveland Indians moving forward. It was announced earlier today, as well as along with the new name of the Cleveland Indians, a complete logo change. The Cleveland Indians will be changing their name to the Guardians after the 2021 seasons. So you will have the Battle of Ohio, the Cincinnati Reds going up against the Cleveland Guardians. And of course, it has led to a lot of backlash today, a lot of furious people. A lot of people are upset. And, I don't blame them from the standpoint of, well, we as people, we just don't like change. And some people out there like me, where I can accept change as long as the change is for the better. And what was the purpose for the change? And of course, it has led to the big conversation is, is the Cleveland Indians team name offensive? And I've always tried to live my life under the mantra of just because something may not offend me doesn't mean it's not offensive. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that, when I hear the Cleveland Indians name, that it sparks a reaction from me. To me, I think of the Cleveland Indians, it's strictly baseball. I strictly view them. The Cleveland Indians are a baseball team. The Cleveland Indians, the name of the team itself, does not trigger a reaction from me that I feel like it's uncomfortable that they should not be calling the team that. Does not mean necessarily that they shouldn't change it. I'm just saying I didn't see a huge necessity to change it. Now, I actually had no problem with them getting rid of the red-faced Indian logo. When they changed that to just the big C, I liked that. I thought that they kept a lot of the same branding. The Indians were doing that with their branding even before they had really started to pull the trigger on adjusting to the new name. But I am curious, as we kick things off here today on a Friday, your reaction to the Cleveland Guardians is what? We actually got phone lines up and rolling. We're going to open those up coming up here in just a moment. We've been waiting to get our full line of phone lines rolling out for a while. And we finally got those up and rolling. We're heading into August. Football season's around the corner. We're hitting the ground running. I'm interested as far as that's concerned. So here's the deal. Whenever you think about the name of the name change for the Cleveland Indians, it has sparked a huge reaction. And I guess the reaction that I want to combat is well, if you don't like the name, what should it have been? I'm not a fan of the Cleveland Guardians. It sounds too cartoonish. In fact, if you look at the logo, it reminds me back in the day. You know when like right now everything is so much more better visually when it comes to graphics, when you do presentations at work, and hell, even in Microsoft Word, or if you use Google Docs, the clip art is way cooler than what it was back when we were younger, right? But that's the thing. If you rewind to back when I was younger, the clip art little logos that you could put in your presentations to kind of spruce it up a bit, that's what this Cleveland Guardians logo looks like. I'm not a fan of it. It looks very cheap. I'm not sure what the pay goes for people who create designs. For teams, I'm assuming it's in the thousands. I'm assuming that's a huge role whenever you're being part of a rebrand. Not a fan of that whatsoever. Big picture. I do not like the Cleveland Guardians name. But I'm also going to be guilty. I'm guilty right now of doing what exactly I don't like what other people do. Well, I don't like something, but I don't have a counter for what I would like it to be. Because society tells us I'm not allowed to say that I kind of liked it the way it was. Like I said earlier, when I hear the name Cleveland Indians, it doesn't trigger a reaction from me. It doesn't mean that I am against those who are offended by it. It just means like I haven't been impacted by it to be offended by it. But as I stated earlier, just because something doesn't offend you does not mean that something is not offensive. But that was one of the bigger news headlines coming out of Major League Baseball today. Again, the Cleveland Indians will be changing their name moving forward to the Cleveland Guardians starting next season. So the big question I have for you, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook. Head there now. Find us on Facebook. It's the Justin Kinner Show. You can find us there. You can also head to YouTube, subscribe to ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, and you can jump in the conversation and let me know your thoughts on the Cleveland Guardians. And not a lot of people were happy on social media when I posted it earlier today. My big thing was it's not really against them changing the name. It was against what they changed the name to. It's funny, we grow up, and, to me, the teams I remember growing up watching, and it doesn't matter what sport it is, like the Lakers were the Lakers, the Celtics were the Celtics, the Browns are the Browns, Bengals are the Bengals. But whenever those teams did break into the league, or whenever their very first season ever as a professional football team or basketball team, help me out for those of you who are our older listeners. What were your thoughts when you heard that the Cincinnati Bengals were going to be a football team? Like the Bengals, doesn't that sound kind of like just weird, right? Like it's not a Bengal. Why the Bengals, right? And no, I'm not taking a shot at the Bengals. I'm just trying to use a different example. Like even the Dallas Cowboys. So we're the Cowboys. That's generic. That's the Cowboys. No, we're the New York, the Giants. The Giants. All of those names, I'm sure, when they were debuted with the team back, decades and decades and decades and decades ago, I'm pretty sure fans back then, on their social media, had no really outlet to go voice their frustrations, probably thought, wow, the Cowboys, that seems like a stupid name, the Cowboys. Oh, we're the Cowboys. That's not very scary. How about the Cleveland Browns? The Cleveland Browns, like we're just going to, our names a color? Like it doesn't even. I mean, of all the colors out there, at least the Cincinnati Reds. Red's a popular color. Cleveland Browns, all the jokes that come with the, got to drop off the Browns at the Super Bowl, blah blah blah, all that fun stuff. The Browns, but over time, the name it just becomes normal. It just becomes a part of the league, and it doesn't sound as funny. I'll give you an example. The National Basketball Association, for instance, whenever I heard that they were going to be moving or changing the team in New Orleans to the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm like, are you kidding me? A professional basketball team, the Pelicans. I've grown up dreaming one day of being a New Orleans Pelican. You really wanted to grow up to be a Pelican? You hear these kids on draft night. They say, oh man, I've always dreamed of being a Laker when I was younger, and I get to fulfill that dream, that opportunity. I find that, it sounds cool, a Laker. Oh man, my dad was a big Celtics fan. I've always dreamed of being a Celtic growing up, and now I had that chance. You know how funny it sounds when Zion Williamson goes to the Pelicans, and young fans today are going to grow up watching him, and 20 years from now say, man, I was a big Zion fan growing up, and I always dreamed of being a Pelican. What? That sounds weird. Like, but over time, when we talk about the Pelicans, it sounds more normal. It's just they're just another NBA team, and it doesn't sound as strange. I remember when the Oklahoma City Thunder debuted in the NBA. I thought that the logo looked very cartoonish. I thought it was very clip arty as well. I thought that the name was horrible. The Thunder, man. I can't wait to watch the Heat and the Thunder go at it in the NBA Finals back then. Like the Miami Heat had a good ring, but the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like it did not sound like a professional sports team. The logo did not look like a professional sports logo. Like when you watch, on ABC or ESPN or Fox or whatever, channel you watch these head-to-head matchup logos on, there's just something about the Thunder and the Lakers. It's like the Thunder. What? So, but over time, when we talk about the OKC Thunder in the NBA or the New Orleans Pelicans in the NBA, it's okay. It's normal. It is what it is. Like they just kind of blend in with the rest of the teams. So although I'm not a fan of the new name for the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Guardians, I don't like the new name. It sounds weird. The New York Yankees against the Cleveland Guardians. It just sounds weird. I don't like it. But I'm sure I'll get used to it. And over time, like I think, the crazy thing is 10 years from now, which is a long time. I even think 3-4 years from now, it'll just be second. The Guardians are tough. Who let's play this? Oh, they got the Guardians. Are they at the Guardians? Or are they at? It sounds so strange right now. But I do believe as time goes on, everything will settle in. It'll be okay. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. But we knew that they were going to change the name. And let's be honest. We could not like the Cleveland Guardians. But what was the name that you guys were going to be okay with? Because that's how I calmed myself down today. Whenever the Cleveland Guardians, that's stupid. This logo looks like clip art from Microsoft Word. It looks horrible. Well, Kinner, you don't like the Guardians. What would you have named it? I would have named it the actually, I don't know. I don't know what I would have named it. So I feel like no matter what the reaction was, no matter what the name of the team was, everyone was going to have a very strong opinion about it. And I feel like they kind of knew that as well, that no matter what happens, they're not going to be able to come up with a new name that was going to please anybody, especially a franchise like the Cleveland Indians, who has a very passionate fan base. And that's kind of, that franchise, that logo, that everything, it was going to be a hard adjustment, a hard change to get the fan base to jump in and buy in on. So like I said, I'm not a Guardians fan to begin with. I'm not a big Cleveland Indians fan to begin with. So it's not like I'm going to lose sleep at the end of the night. But we'll see. Oh, the echo on there. I apologize for those on YouTube, Facebook. Is that fixed? I think it's fixed. Thank you for pointing that out, Jake. My apologies. So 457-9464. That's the number. Have it off to the side. When I go to take a step away from the show for a few moments, I will then gather your calls and get your reaction on the other side. But relax. I know everyone does not like the Cleveland Guardians' new name, but you weren't going to. You're more angry that they are changing the name than what they are changing the name to. And I guess that's what to sum up my rambling opening segment here. You are more angry that they are changing their name more than what they're changing their name to, because at the end of the day, no matter what they changed their name to, it wasn't going to be good. I saw the Cleveland Spiders. The Spiders are in town. I mean, hell, Little League teams, don't even call themselves as something as generic as the Spiders or as the Guardians. I don't know. Not a fan of it. Don't like it. But I think that we're going to be angry about it no matter what. Nobody likes change. But as I said, I thought that the OKC Thunder was the dumbest name for a professional sports team in the history of sports. Now it's just second. Oh yeah, the Thunder. Yeah, the Thunder. Yeah. Or the Pelicans. The Pelicans. That's a bad name. That's a bad name. The Pelicans. Oh, I can't wait to go and play for the Pelicans. Zion Williamson, your biggest name in the draft 2 years ago. All right, you couldn't wait. Everyone thought he was going to go to the Knicks. Everyone thought there was a chance he can go to the Lakers. He was going to go to one of those premiered, storied franchises that have an established brand. And now the NBA has to talk about Zion as a Pelican. Yeah, I don't know. I think the name does matter. I'm not a big fan of the Guardians or Galaxy or whatever the hell their name is. Not a fan. But I wasn't going to be a fan of any of the new names because I was so used to the old one. But we'll see. It's the Justin Kinner Show without Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine right here on 1410 Wing AM. But as I said, this was a debate that started a long time ago when they first announced that they were going to be, looking to change the name of the team. The Washington football team, I hope they sat back and took notes. I hope they took a step back, watched what Cleveland did, and said, "Oh yeah, that's not a very good reaction from people." I haven't come across anybody that likes it. I have not seen one positive comment on it. So until then, I'm going to be searching for those people out there. Are there any Indians or Cleveland baseball team fans? Are there any Cleveland fans out there that actually like the name change? I don't know what I would like to have seen it change to, but I'm not a fan of the Cleveland Guardians whatsoever. So head to Facebook, head to YouTube, the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Like and subscribe right there, and let me know. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I bet it's a lot of thumbs down. You don't like it, that's fine, but what would you have liked to see the name be? Leave your comments in the comment section. I'll read your responses on the other side. We got phone lines again, so I'll take your calls during the commercial break. We'll get you lined up, and then we'll get your responses on the other side. It is the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Orion Sports Medicine, right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight will be mostly cloudy, a low near 64. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy and humid, a high near 90. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
This is a big deal. Now at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as August 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Introducing the biggest streamers of the summer.
Finally heading to the Olympic Games. To Tokyo. Here.
The fastest.
It's going to do it.
The strongest.
World record by Ryan Krauser.
The greatest.
Nobody does it like Simone.
And they're about to give you the greatest show you've ever seen.
The dream has come true.
The opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympics. Tonight on NBC.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly.
If you're ready for an oil change, trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car. Right now, get 5 quarts of Valvoline full synthetic motor oil and a Wix filter for $33.99. Plus, get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate and double O-Rewards points. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Lisa and payroll, hello.
Lisa? Hi, it's Jim at the home office. Any particular reason why your mailroom clerk makes $2.7 million a year?
Well, he's really good, you know.
Is it time to update your payroll network? Call the certified professionals at Arrowhead Tax Accounting and Payroll Services in New Carlisle at 937-543-5770. Arrowhead Tax Accounting and Payroll Services. Our target is your satisfaction.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Goodyear believes in the power of moving forward. No matter if it's on the track, the court, or the field, movement makes us want to be more. It pushes us to go further, to show the world what we can do. Movement has the unique ability to change our perspective, to challenge us, to work for a better tomorrow. Movement can even bring us together when we're still. Because if we're focused on the next move, we don't have to worry about what's behind us. Goodyear, more driven.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Over the last year and a half, we all learned some hard lessons. One of the most important is that you can't put off the inevitable. Hi, this is Mark Davis at Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery and Mausoleums. No matter how hard it is to think about, we all need a final resting place. When pre-planning with your funeral home, please remember that cemetery arrangements must also be made. Call us today at 937-890-1831 or visit our website at DaytonMemorialPark.com. And remember, Dayton Memorial Park is a beautiful place to celebrate life.
From the beginning, they were applauded. The music that sold over 100 million records. Chicago, July 27th, Rose Music Center at the Heights.
Make me smile.
The music of Chicago.
Does anybody really know what time it is?
Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com and the Rose Music Center box office.
54624.
Chicago.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-990-6271 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. Been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-990-6271 for as little as only $119 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-990-6271 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on the little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-990-6271 now. That's 800-990-6271.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner hanging out with you here on a Friday. Hope everyone has some big plans lined up, ready to have a good time as we head into the weekend. The TBT on WING. We'll have our first TBT game of the season coming up later on here tonight on 1410 Wing AM. It'll be a late tip. 9 p.m. will be the tip-off. I'll be on the call from the Cavelli Center for Carmen's crew. And then Norm Gravy and I will be bringing you Dayton Flyers Red Scare basketball tomorrow at 3 p.m. right here on 1410 Wing AM. So keep that little programming note in mind. I'm really looking forward to that. In fact, former Ohio State Buckeye shooting guard John Diebler played at Upper Sandusky High School, one of the best high school basketball players of all time, going to be joining us coming up here, coming up at 4:45 in the next hour. So there you go. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Orion Sports Medicine. And I threw out the question about, okay, we knew I knew when Cleveland announced that they were going to change the name of the team from the Cleveland Indians to fill in the blank. I knew I wasn't going to like it no matter what. We don't like change. It's just how we are. That's how we're wired. No one was looking forward to the name change, or if they were looking forward to the name change, I think everyone kind of had a little bit of doubt about the name that was going to come out of it. I have yet, not saying that there's nobody out there, but I have yet to come across anyone that is like, oh man, I'm so glad they changed it to this. But over time, I think it'll be fine. I used these examples earlier. Nobody thought that the Pelicans, and I still think to this day the Pelicans is such a horrible name, but it's just we say it like it's not. They're just New Orleans Pelicans. It is what I mean. That's who they are. And I think that the Guardians will be who Cleveland is. It's just going to take a little time to kind of let it sit in a little bit. So the organization, Cleveland, they spent like most of this past year basically whittling down a list of potential names. Guys, there was over 1,200 names on this list. I don't know why I have a hard time believing that there was over 1,200 names. Really? What names could there have been? What other names were on that list of 1,200 names that could have been worse than Guardians? I'm just curious. I mean, 1,200 names. They said they had to whittle the list down, which was at 1,200 names just over a month ago. Look, the process, like I guess, so the process, it included over 140 hours of interviews with fans. I don't believe that. I don't know why. I guess I believe it. I have to believe it. I find I don't know. I find this very strange. 140 hours of interviews with fans, community leaders, front office personnel, and then a survey of over 40,000 fans quickly accelerated and the club landed on the Guardians. So, okay. So at least the fans had played some kind of role in this. At least I believe they do. Is this one of those things where the team knew all along what they wanted to call it, but they were going to go through the charade of handing out these surveys to allow people to partake in the survey to make it feel like they're a part of the decision-making process, when really, no matter what they voted for, it's kind of like voting, right? Like, we were a part of it. Really, you're one of how many? Anyways, sorry, that was my voting PSA for the day. But at the end of the day, I just couldn't believe how much anger was spewed over social media today. I just did not like the name that they chose, but I don't have any suggestions for what it should have been called. So to Facebook we go. So Ran Go Blue on YouTube, he says, how about the Cleveland Rockers because of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Now, not a bad name. I actually do like that name. Had they come out and said, hey, the Cleveland Rockers, I would have said, okay, that's pretty cool. I could get behind that. But there's a reason they didn't go with the Cleveland Rockers, Ran Go Blue on YouTube. The Cleveland Rockers, I can't remember what year the WNBA debuted, but one of the WNBA teams that debuted with the league back in the 90s was the Cleveland Rockers. So I don't think they wanted to share that name with the WNBA team. No, and it makes sense. And by the way, it's nothing because they don't want to share the name with the WNBA, with the women's women's team. Oh God, I don't want to be that's not what I'm saying. They don't want to use that name that has already been used for a previous professional team in Cleveland. That's all. But the Cleveland Rockers has been used before. It was used in the WNBA when Cleveland had a team, way back when. So that's why, in my opinion, they didn't roll with that, because the Rockers makes a lot of sense. I do like that suggestion. So thank you for that one. I would have been all for it. I'm totally fine with that one. But 457-9464, we got phone lines up and rolling again today. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let's go to line one. We got Scott waiting on us. Scott, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling. How are you?
I'm great. Before we get into the whole mascot thing, I just wanted to say #fire David Bell. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, when in doubt, blame David Bell, right?
Yeah, it's David Bell's fault that Cleveland named them that. I grew up liking the Dolphins, and I grew up liking the Buckeyes, which is a poisonous nut. I mean, I got teased the whole time I was in the Navy about both my teams. And, I mean, when you're in Ohio, though, you just accept it. That it's the Buckeyes. I mean, it's the silliest mascot ever. Is this guy running around with a nut on his head? But it's our team, and you grow to love it after a while. And if they renamed the Reds or the Buckeyes tomorrow, I would be devastated. I would hate whatever they did come up with. But it's kind of a statement on Cleveland that they couldn't figure out one thing about the city that was original, that made the city special to name their team after. That they got a team named the Browns and now the Guardians.
Yeah, I know the Browns. Look, I'm a Browns fan, but that's not very original, right? Like that. I mean, the Browns. We're just the Browns. Like, and like I said, the Cincinnati Reds. If we had no knowledge of Cincinnati Reds pro franchise, and someone said we just want to call ourselves, we'll just pick some random Crayola color and call us the Reds or the orange or the blue or the whatever. It's just interesting to me, the Reds, but the Browns is just kind of bleh. But the Guardians, I'm with you. It just doesn't make sense. At least the Cleveland Rockers that was suggested earlier. And like I said, I truly believe that possibly would have been a front runner had it not been used for the WNBA back in the 90s. But you're right, though. They said they had 1,200 names, Scott, on this list. 1,200 names on this list. I have a hard time believing there were 1,200.
I'm like you. I don't believe it. Here's the thing, though. You watch, if the Indians would just win for once in their damn lives, I mean, you'd be surprised that people would probably grow to love that name. They wouldn't even care what the name is. But the fact is, it's one of those sour grapes towns, and if the Reds, if the Reds kept playing like the way they are and they changed their name, I mean, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I feel like it just, it's a limp noodle kind of name, the Guardians. It just doesn't make you want to put that jersey on. I feel bad for people in Cleveland, but you know what? Cleveland fans are really good sports fans. I'll say that.
I'm more upset with the logo than the name. I'm not a fan of the name, but the logo looks very clip arty. It looks very Microsoft clip arty to me. I'm not a fan of it.
It's very comic book looking.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But no, you bring up a good point. Now, I don't think that winning or losing has a lot to do. I guess you're talking about from if they were winning, there'd be more fan excitement, which would get an even more a passionate response. I just think right now, even the people you're hearing from that don't like it, they're not even Cleveland fans to begin with. But I know.
Well, and they're probably mostly Cleveland Indians fans too. I mean, 5 years from now, no one's going to give a rip about that name except for Cleveland Indians fans.
Yep, and then you grew up with it. That'll keep wearing the logo and keep wearing the shirts and keep wearing everything else.
Oh, I know they will because they're Cleveland fans. Cleveland fans lost their team, and my parents are Cleveland fans, and they just quit watching the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how Cleveland fans are. I mean, that's one of the original teams that started the NFL. I mean, they deserve better than that.
Now,
and I think the Cleveland.
What?
I feel like the Cleveland Indians fans. They got a legitimate gripe, and no one else, no Reds fans, no one else is going to really care. Because it's like the Lakers. There's not a lake in Los Angeles. They used to be the Minnesota Lakers. And it makes no sense that they're the Lakers. But that name, it just stuck after a while.
It's just, and that's why I said over time, I think we'll, like I said, 4 or 5 years from now, we won't even look at this and even blink at it. Cleveland fans will, because it's going to take time. But as far as non-Cleveland fans, it's just going to be another team in the league. And look, I think we have to get used to this. Expansion is a part of everything. Professional sports doesn't get smaller; it gets bigger. Like no matter how many parity is an issue in Major League Baseball, and there's still talks of what they're going to do as far as trying to bring in more teams to Major League Baseball. I'm like, baseball needs to shrink more than it needs to expand.
Oh, I agree.
No, I just find this interesting. My big thing with the whole Cleveland Indians name change was I understood the red Indian face logo, changing that. I was fine with changing that. I understood the gripe with that. But the name itself, I don't understand. Like I said earlier, it doesn't mean that it's not offensive. It's not offensive to me, but just because it's not offensive to me, it doesn't mean it's not offensive. But I'm just having a hard time grasping why just a name, just the name itself is a problem. I don't understand.
Well,
so
it's the worst time in the world right now to change a name because we live in such a thin-skinned, politically correct era right now. And I don't think 90% of those 1,200 names probably were acceptable based on that alone. But I just want to make a prediction before I hang up. The Cleveland Guardians, the first year they use that name, they'll win the World Series.
Well, maybe. They only spent less than $40 million, this season. Hopefully, the money they save this year, they'll go all in next year, and maybe they will. Because next year it'll be the first. The Cleveland Guardians era will begin next year, so we'll see.
Well, I just think that would be awesome if they did. But even though I'm a Reds fan,
so there you go. But Scott, thanks for the call, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Yep.
All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Interesting stuff there. So yesterday we spent a lot of time, and by the way, real quick, we do have Reds baseball coming up later on tonight. They had an off night yesterday. Things have been kind of ugly for the Reds coming out of the All-Star break. They've dropped 5 of 6, and they're trying to kind of pick it back up a little bit. But here's the thing. Here's how good the Reds were playing before the All-Star break. They have dropped 5 of 6, and they're still sitting a couple games above 500. Like, it's not as if the Reds have just been drowning, right? Like, that's the thing that's going to be interesting when it's all said moving forward. But the Reds, 6.5 games back of the Brewers. Reds will be in action tonight as they get the series underway with the Cardinals at Great American Ballpark. We'll take some more of your phone calls coming up here in just a moment. But again, a lot of rumbling. The NFL is just, a lot of the players are very unhappy. A lot of coaches are unhappy. You know, we saw an assistant coach lose his job today because he refused to get the vaccine. So a lot of people are pretty fired up about that. We'll get to that coming up around the corner. As I told you, John Diebler, he's going to hang out with us here shortly. An hour from now, we'll hear from the former Buckeye as him and Carmen's crew get set to go head-to-head tonight in their tip-off of the TBT on WING. 457-9464. That's the number to dial. Call in, jump in on the conversation. We'll jump on with you guys on the other side. The Justin Kinner Show, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ready for renovations? Arts Rental Equipment has the tools you need to make your home, lawn, and garden stand out this year. From brush chippers to cutoff saws, no job is too small or too big. Visit your local Arts store today. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Goodyear believes in the power of moving forward. No matter if it's on the track, the court, or the field, movement makes us want to be more. It pushes us to go further, to show the world what we can do. Movement has the unique ability to change our perspective, to challenge us, to work for a better tomorrow. Movement can even bring us together when we're still. Because if we're focused on the next move, we don't have to worry about what's behind us. Goodyear, more driven.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Back to school season is on. Get best-in-class savings at JCPenney. Gear up with 40% off backpacks from brands that always have their back. And shop smart on doorbusters across the store while they last all weekend long. That means stocking up on essentials like $5.99 select kids tees and $14.99 select kids shorts. Don't forget to use your coupon to save an extra 25% and check everything off your list in one easy trip. Weekdays are back in style. JCPenney. Offers and coupon valid through 8/4. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Right now, Staples one-subject notebooks are only 25 cents each, and Crayola 24-count crayons, 2-pocket polyfolders, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 50 cents each. So your student won't just be ready for school, there'll be tons of drawings to hang on the fridge ready.
We're going to need a bigger refrigerator.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back-to-school and get amazing prices for everything on your back-to-school list. Ends 9/18, limit 30, notebooks in-store only. Offer may vary online.
Taking a Reds game from the Kroger bleachers for some fun in the sun this summer. Offering one of the best values at the ballpark, the Kroger bleachers are a great location to watch the action with family and friends while cheering on your Reds. Plus, you can take advantage of the Kroger meal deal at every game, which includes a hot dog, soft drink, chips, and a snack. Get your tickets today at Reds.com.
How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, earn 30% back in a Staples store bonus when you buy any 2 ink cartridges, including HP. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4, in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details and 724.
Daisy sheds like crazy. Our hairballs have hairballs. Marquette Mama, she has dandruff and an oily coat. DINOVITE.com. I was thrilled when I heard Dinovite for Cats was coming out. If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them. Dinovite is a life changer. Lately, she's been a lot more playful, a lot more energetic, more active.
Dinovite for life.
You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition. Do you have a home improvement project? Use the right tool for the job and rent from Arts Rental Equipment. Arts has the best selection from power washers and ladders to loaders and dump trailers. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Welcome back. It's the Justin Kinner Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Wow, a lot to get into coming up here in hour number 2. Kevin Warren still being blasted for a lot that he not really necessarily said, but did not say in yesterday's Big Ten Media Days. Yesterday, we touched on Kevin Warren's approach to, of course, talking about how he handled the COVID pandemic or navigating through that last year. We talked about that yesterday. I'm not going to jump on that again today, but there were some interesting things when he was questioned about, okay, well, if Texas and Oklahoma do end up in the SEC, what role did the Big Ten play in regards to were there any opportunities there to potentially see about getting them in the Big Ten? Exactly what was the Big Ten's approach? A lot of people criticizing Kevin Warren on that, including former Buckeye Bobby Carpenter on Twitter, which I'll have that audio coming up for you here in just a moment. Also, I do want to point this out. I don't know if it's, the world must be ending or what necessarily, but apparently Mike Brown woke up from his nap and has decided that the offensive line is kind of a priority all of a sudden. I don't know why Mike Brown waits until the draft is over and free agency is over and a month after of downtime before he wakes up from his nap and says, oh, yeah, we need an offensive line. The Bengals are bringing in, according to Paul Dehner Jr., covers the Bengals for The Athletic, does a great job. The Bengals are bringing in center Austin Ryder, previously of the Chiefs, for a workout on Monday. This was first reported by Tom Pelissero. Now, he won't be alone. There are expected to be 2 other offensive linemen with him as the Bengals assess options to fill out the back of the roster. So, look, I think I'm not going to bash the Bengals for doing this. I'm bashing the timing of it. I just don't understand. Why are you waiting till now to bring in guys to address the offensive line? Now I'm nitpicking because, I'm always going to find something to complain about, but it's just nothing that this team and organization does ever make sense. If anyone out there believes that you're going to put together a Super Bowl caliber offensive line a week before camp starts, I mean, you're more delusional than your napping owner. But at the same time, any addition is a good addition, especially if you can get Reader from Kansas City. I do like that addition. I know Hopkins is a solid option for the Bengals, but as we now know, it's not just about who you have starting. It's about who you have over there on the sidelines as well to kind of add some depth. So I'm not going to knock it. I like that addition if they end up getting that deal done. Apparently, they're bringing a couple other offensive linemen as well. So that's what's pretty exciting about all that. But I'm interested to see how this is going to work. So we'll see what changes they make. But that news coming out earlier today, I just thought was kind of interesting. Now the Bengals decide, oh, yeah, we kind of need to get our dude some help on the offensive line. This comes, and I found this interesting. Jay Book on, with Bucknuts, he tweeted this out a little bit ago, that rumors are out there that Missouri is a no vote with Texas A&M and with Arkansas on the fence. The time would be now for Kevin Warren to reach out to Oklahoma and Texas. Tell Oklahoma we will solve your Oklahoma State problem and state legislator by bringing them in with Iowa State and those 4 teams. This was a tweet from late yesterday that caught my attention that I wanted to save for today. Kevin Warren being questioned heavily about why the Big Ten was not more heavily aggressive in trying to lure those 2 teams to the Big Ten. If they were looking to get out, why were they looking to get out? Was it just as simple as wanting to get out, or were they that obsessed with the SEC? Was there any value in looking at a conference with Ohio State being the face of that conference as well, along with Penn State and Michigan? Very good questions that I think Kevin Warren should have to answer to, and we'll touch on that coming up here in hour number 2. But I want to get back to the phone lines. We do have multiple phone lines officially back up and rolling. We have been without those for a while. That's why me and Kev have been kind of poking fun at that for a while, but we actually have those up and rolling. So let's go back to the phones. We heard from Scott earlier. Let's hang out with DoorDash Ray. DoorDash Ray, it has been a while, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. What you got for us today?
No, I just wanted to chime in on the Indians. I mean, I'm with you. There's no reason to change the name, change the logo. It's been a franchise forever. Stick with the name. We can just retool the logo there, keep everybody happy. But I know how you're a diehard Cleveland fan, buddy. Like, I'm a Raider fan, and of course, I went through a couple different cities over the last 30 years. But there's no reason to change the name of the team. Guardians, I think it's lame as hell. I mean, look at the logo. It's just stupid. But I'm on board with all you Cleveland fans, you Indian fans. Keep the name. Indians, change the logo.
Yeah, bottom line, and again, that was my take on that, when this was first announced about a year ago, but we know that's not going to be the case. So now all I could do is just kind of give my take on the end result, and the end result is I don't like the name, and I definitely don't like the logo of the new team. It's very clip arty, very generic looking, very cartoonish. Maybe it'll kind of settle in and become more aesthetically pleasing as time goes on, but as far as where I sit right now, I'm bored. I don't like it. So we'll see. But luckily, I'm not a big Cleveland Indians fan to begin with. I don't dislike the franchise, but I'm just not. I'm a Reds fan. But there was it's going to be weird now watching the Cincinnati Reds against the Cleveland Guardians. It sounds like a soccer team.
It's a little cheesy, and also on the Bengals thing, I'm wondering if somebody got hurt that they're not talking about, which is why they actually brought somebody in.
Well, they shouldn't have got hurt. Zach Taylor don't practice. Hell, they had mini camp, and he just ignored that. He gave him the last 2 days or last day off because he said that they fulfilled everything they need to fulfill. I'm like, what are you talking about? But no, that's a good point. It is, the timing seems off to me. Why now? Is there some kind of phantom injury that we have not been made aware of? Why now are you all of a sudden pressing, increasing urgency on getting some offensive linemen to work out before camp begins? You're right, Ray. I don't know if it's an injury or what it is, but something seems off. I'm not sure what it is. They didn't have a lot of depth to begin with, and the fact that they're bringing in not just Reader at center, but a couple others as well to work out, that says to me that you're right. It could have been a significant injury, and it could be as significant as hopefully not. But, is it Hopkins in the middle? Who knows? Something had to have happened, though, for them to all of a sudden, for Mike Brown to wake up from his nap and say, oh, crap, we need offensive linemen.
That's it, and that's what it takes for him. It takes some sort of a life-altering event where he goes, oh, crap, like you said, I need to do something there. But anyway, buddy, long time no here. I hope you guys are doing good. Kev will be back next week, and we still love you out here, man. We'll talk to you later.
Adios, man. Take care. And next time, don't talk on speakerphone. You sound like you're in the bathroom, man. I don't know what's going on there. But it was good hearing from DoorDash Ray. So Jake, the Bengal fan, Whiting says Trey Hopkins tore his ACL last year. I think his injury hasn't rehabbed like they have liked. And then Nick on Facebook says the 6th rounder from KU got hurt the last OTA. Look, and then Jake goes on to say, it's rumored that Billy Price is on the block. Who's the backup center? Either way, Bengals fans getting all chippy already in the comment section, getting all defensive. Come on. Bringing in a guy a week before camp. Calvary's coming. Holy moly. Let's see. I don't have time to see who this is. Caller, what's up, man? Who is this?
This is Ron, the Ron.
Ron, you're on live. You cuss. I'm dropping you, and you will not be back on. You violated this rule like a lot of times, Ron. How are you?
How you been, man?
Good. Good to hear from you. At least for now. We'll see how this call goes. I know sometimes you can be a little loopy from time to time.
I went through therapy. I can properly talk proper English now. So anyway, I was calling about, you still talking about the Native American topic?
Sure. Tread lightly with how you started that. So tread lightly, but yes, what is your thoughts on that, Ron?
I'm talking about the name change. Now, how long is it going to take before they start trying to hit the Florida State? You know what I mean?
Like the Seminoles and everything. And then look, that's why I said, I admitted earlier that, like a lot of sports radio hosts will sit up here and they'll pretend to be offended by stuff that doesn't impact them. And I'm not going to do that. I don't think that the Cleveland Indians, the name itself, it doesn't offend me. It doesn't spark a reaction from me. It doesn't mean that it's not offensive. I'm just saying, 31 years old, I haven't been around enough people that has offended for me to understand how it's offensive. But it doesn't mean that just because it doesn't offend me that I'm going to make jokes about it. But at the same time, I just thought that the name itself really wasn't that big of a deal for them to have to make this change. I think it was more proactive than anything else. This change is really stemming from, yes, there have been multiple examples of people have protested the name, but those happen quite regularly. There's always going to be a group of people that you have upset one way or another. But I just didn't think it was necessary. But the bottom line is, regardless of the opinions on that, it's not going to matter. They have officially changed the name. They will be the Guardians moving forward. I actually hope for football that they for Washington, I kind of like the Washington football team. I kind of hope that they just stick with that. I think that sounds pretty good for them. They need to look at what just happened with Cleveland and realize that it's going to create another crap storm when they change their name to something cartoonish. And I hope Washington just keeps it what it is.
I'm just saying, like, if you look at the Florida State Seminoles logo, they got an Indian with the spear, and the name and everything. I mean, according like the Indians, you had on the tribe thing, you had the brave with the feather, and the Redskins, you had the same thing. So, I mean, you don't hear nothing about the college part of it.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, that's not. I mean, there are people out there. There are groups that are protesting that on the regular. It's just not one of the more mainstreamed coverages as far as that's concerned. But no, look, the bottom line is, I mean, the Guardians. What would you have called them? What if you do you like the name?
I think it could have been a little different. I think they could have themed it around something what it was. You know what I mean? But it's kind of hard to think of one up that quick, But I don't know, man. I mean, who likes the name Browns? I know it's the name of the owner.
You know what? The Tampa Bay Bucks. You know what that rhymes with? So you know what? There you go. I don't want to hear it.
But
so
hey, you know what it rhymes with? It rhymes with Super Bowl champions.
What?
Rhymes with Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, you're welcome, Tom Brady. You better be thanking your lucky stars that he came to Tampa.
Hey,
otherwise, you had Jameis Winston 30 for 30.
Hey, I'm all for. I never did like Tom Brady before he came down there, but it's like you. If you'd have went to Cleveland and won a Super Bowl, you would have just handed him the keys to the town, which Tampa did.
I didn't dislike Tom Brady with the Patriots. I didn't dislike him for going to Tampa. I mean, you didn't like him because you realized, that you didn't have a quarterback like that. Now you do, so of course you like him.
Oh yeah. Well, see, you probably know I was just down there a couple weeks ago. You saw my pictures, but the whole town is so title town. I mean, all the buildings got Tampa Bay Lightning, Buccaneers, and soon it's going to be Rays because the Rays have been right back in it the last couple of years, and they're one game back. So I mean, that town is really kicking with sport. That's a sports town now.
Yeah. We'll see if old man Brady can stay healthy during 17 games. Ron, anything else? We're out of time here. You did a good job.
No,
you didn't swear.
Hey, not yet. I still got time, but I'm not going to. And hey, are you guys going to go on location this year?
Yes. In fact, I just had that meeting today. August 29th, we will be live out at Frickers on 741. The Sunday morning tailgate show will begin once again with Keith Byers and myself. So, yes, we will be on location once again. But, Rod, we're out of time. Good hearing from you.
All right, hey, good to hear from you, Justin. Hey, good luck tonight with your call. And I just want to say you call next game. I've heard you, and you are really good.
Oh wow, Ron! You know what? We have a little bit more time now. Continue saying nice things about old Kidder here. It's rare that happens.
Anyway, I'm talking about you, not the Browns.
All right, adios, Ron. You had your chance. No, but Ron, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, the TBT on WING tonight, Carmen's Crew, 9 p.m. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll dive into this Texas-Oklahoma to the SEC. It doesn't even sound right. It looks weird. I started looking at, where I would rank both Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC heading into this upcoming season. And just seeing their names within the group of names of the SEC, it just looks strange. And it has led to a domino effect of, for one, why do they want out of the Big 12 so bad? Why didn't the Pac-12 step up and try to get them? What was the Big 10 doing? Should they have been more aggressive in trying to lure them to the Big 10? What exactly is going on in college football? And I didn't really put a whole lot of stock into this conversation the other day whenever the rumors started coming out. But apparently there's a lot of momentum to this. There's a lot of truth to this, and it could potentially happen very, very soon. Very interesting dilemma kind of happening right now in college football when it comes to the SEC. The conference that it just means more, obviously. Now the teams want to get to the SEC, but is it smart for Texas and Oklahoma? We'll talk about that coming up around the corner. John Diebler, former Buckeye, Carmen's Crew shooting guard, going to join us at 5 o'clock, or at 4:45, I'm sorry. Busy hour number 2 coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
The Cash Explosion Cash Contest is a nationwide contest for your chance to win $1,000 daily. No purchase necessary to enter or win. You will receive an email confirming entry. One winner will be chosen for each day. Contest is open to U.S. residents 18 years or older. Contest is sponsored by participating Alpha Media, Aptivada, or their parent, subsidiary, and affiliated entities. Advertising agencies, promotional partners, and members of families or households are not eligible to enter or win. Odds of winning depend on number of entries received. Contest is subject to all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations. Void where prohibited. Participants must sign all contest release and waiver forms to be eligible to win the prize. The contest begins on Monday, July 5th, 2021, and ends on Friday, July 30th, 2021. To participate in the contest, you must listen to the participating radio station at the specified times and enter the word that wins at wingam.com. Contest sponsors are not responsible for technical failures or malfunctions of any kind. For full contest rules, please visit wingam.com. Decisions of station management with respect to the contest are final.
Now at Menards, save big money in your next project with 11% off everything. Turtle Wax Hybrid Ceramic Spray is the fastest way to an amazing shine. Just wash your car, spray it on and wipe dry. Get durable protection and superior shine with 11% off all Turtle Wax products. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through July 24th. Savings are mail-in rebates. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Step up your career with an MBA from Ohio Dominican University. At Ohio Dominican, you can earn your MBA 100% online in just 16 months. With 7 high-demand concentrations, including data analytics, risk management, and now healthcare administration, an MBA from Ohio Dominican fits your professional goals. It's also one of the most affordable programs in the region. Classes start soon. Get started at ohiodominican.edu/MBA.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. When you need a dependable body shop, we're here to help, repairing all makes and models. Our technicians have over 125 years experience. That means we can repair your vehicle quickly and efficiently. Our department is state-of-the-art with new equipment to get you back on the road quickly. We offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Rittal North America, LLC in Urbana will be hosting on-site walk-in interviews every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in July from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Rittal offers great pay, benefits, and has immediate openings seeking experienced welders, machine operators, paint unloaders, and paint loaders. Attend one of the on-site walk-in interviews at Rittal or apply today by sending your resume to Katie McKee at mckee.k@rittal.us. That's mckee.k@rittal.us. Rittal is proud to be an affirmative action and equal opportunity employer.
Staples Connect has everything to help you get ready for back to school with amazing prices for everything on your list. Visit your local Staples store, staplesconnect.com, and be more than ready for school. Staples.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
All right, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Happy Thursday. The TBT on WING. Just a reminder that we will be carrying every Red Scare and Carmen's Crew game right here on 1410 Wing AM. We'll kick it off tomorrow night, Friday night at 9 p.m. It'll be a late tip, but it'll be Carmen's Crew, Ohio State's alumni team, tipping things off for us here on 1410 Wing AM. And then the one we're all excited for, the Red Scare, Saturday at 3 p.m. And I'm excited to bring on a former Dayton Flyer who you'll have a chance to see play this coming Saturday. We have former Flyer Kendall Pollard. Kendall, you're one of my all-time favorite Flyers, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us today. How are you?
I'm good. Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, listen, so, in prepping for this, I'm thinking like, oh, that Elite Eight run was just a few years ago, right? Like but like a lot's happened, man. Like since that run, I mean, of course, since that run, you guys had a couple more tournament runs after that. You guys were eliminated by Wichita State to end your Flyer career. Archie takes the Indiana job. Archie loses the Indiana job. Anthony Grant's hired. Anthony Grant gets one of the top recruiting classes in the country for this upcoming up season. Kostas Antetokounmpo is drafted, and he's won a damn NBA championship since then. COVID happened. Obi Toppin's been drafted. They were ranked number 3 in the country at one point. That's a lot that's happened since your career with the Flyers had come to an end, man. You have to feel old, right?
Yeah, pretty old, man. This is my 4th year post-grad. We was just talking about that with a lot of the players on the team. I don't know if you remember Brandon Spearman, but he was here. We went to high school together in Chicago, and we came up here for the tournament. He's also playing with us. And he said this is his 10th year since he's been on campus. And I was like, wow, man. For me, it's 4. Trey, not so many. Dale Davis, maybe 3. I'm 1 year older than Dale. So, yeah, a lot of us feeling old. We're going to go watch the current team practice today or, work out today. So, yeah, feeling pretty old, but I get a nostalgic feeling coming back to campus and riding past the arena and stuff like that. So, I miss this place, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I couldn't agree more with you on that. Now, listen, it's what's interesting about all this is to us, it's no secret in this city how special the University of Dayton is, especially when it comes to athletics and especially, the basketball program. But you're from Chicago. What was your familiarity with the Dayton Flyers program before you were recruited by Archie? What was when did you fall in love with the Dayton Flyers program being all the way in Chicago? What was that like going all the way back to when Archie was here?
That's a great question. I've never been asked that question before. So let me give you a little background. I wasn't heavily recruited to start out, but Brandon Spearman, the guy that I just told you about, we went to high school together. He was a senior. I was a freshman. And he went to Dayton. So my, I think, junior year or sophomore year in high school, we came up to Flying to the Hoop to watch him play at Xavier. And I just seen the atmosphere at Xavier. It was crazy, man. But, we also had fans there. And the atmosphere was crazy. So I really wasn't familiar with Dayton, but besides that, it was a good mid-major school. And then when he went, it gave the city and the school a little more credibility because I didn't know anything about the school. So just he was our best player my freshman year on our varsity team. So just seeing him come here, it just opened up a whole new, it opened my eyes to Dayton. And then I was at a tournament in D.C. Not a tournament, like a camp. Me, Scooch, and Kyle was there, actually. And I played really good, man. And then when I got back to my hotel, I think it was like my sophomore, it was my junior year. And a guy who was handling my recruitment said, Dayton's going to call you in a minute. So usually when he say that, that means they're about to offer you. So I think I spoke with Coach Tom Ostrom for a little, and then he put Archie on the phone, and Arch offered me the scholarship. And I was just so excited because that was like the best offer that I had in my eyes. I had like UIC, a couple Bradley, a couple small schools, and then Dayton is a small mid-major school. But to me, it was like a big school. So I was just really excited. And then when I came on my visit, I seen that we had D. Sanford from Georgetown, Seibert from Ohio State, and I seen the guys that was out there, and I was like, man, we could really do something special. And they wasn't even that good the year before I came. They was like, I think, one game over or under 500. So really, me, Cal, and Scooch had to really buy in because nobody wants to go to a school who's bad, No. But we looked at it as like, we're going to be a group to turn it around. And that's what happened.
No kidding. No, when you said, your goal was to turn it around, did you ever imagine? I mean, look, let's be real. You talked about, you're, from Chicago. You look at Dayton, at that time without a lot of familiarity with it. That's a smaller mid-major program. And usually when you're trying to turn things around at a smaller mid-major program, making the NCAA tournament, maybe getting a win is kind of the idea of turning it around, right? There's not a lot of expectations to go on tournament runs. And yet all of you guys were 40 minutes from a potential Final Four appearance. I mean, that has to just make that whole experience, looking back at your career, so surreal. Think about being a part of where they were before you got there and the reputation of the program on top of its history after you left.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, Dustin, like, me coming from the school that I was coming from, it was like the best school in the country 2-3 years in a row. So me coming to Dayton, the past history was like white and like a clean slate. I wasn't thinking about that when I got in. So it was expected, to be honest with you. I expected to go to the tournament. Now, to win that many games was not so much. But once I seen how good of a team we had and the teams that we was competing against early in the year, like Gonzaga, California, Baylor, we was right there toe-to-toe with those guys. We beat Gonzaga. We beat California. Lost to Baylor by 2. And those teams were top. Well, not California, but Baylor and Gonzaga was like top 5, top 10 schools. So, it was expected to go to the tournament. And we got in, and the rest is history.
No, history indeed. And it really, I mean, again, I always like, we know the history of the Dayton Flyers program. It's not like it was new to the fan base to watch a team go on that, run in the tournament, but it was quite refreshing seeing the program return, to its roots a bit, and the expectations of the program changed ever since. A couple things here, then we'll get into looking ahead to your TBT matchup coming up on Saturday. But like when you walked off the floor for the final time and, with Kyle Davis and Scucci and those guys, I mean, such a historic class. When you walked off the floor, did you ever imagine, I know you've played in a TBT with these guys since then, not Scucci, of course, but did you ever think walking off the floor in Indianapolis in the NCAA tournament after that crushing loss to Wichita State, did you ever think that you'd be able to put on a Dayton Flyers themed jersey in general and play alongside these guys? Did you ever think that was a possibility?
No, never. That's why this is so special to reconnect with the guys every summer and, just hang out like right now, the week leading up to the tournament. Special moments. Like I tell them all the time, like I miss y'all, like just hanging out with y'all. So I never thought that maybe come back and be some type of coach or something one day, or whatever. But never actually playing with these guys again.
Playing with these guys is one thing, man, but damn, you guys have a chance to play at UD Arena, and that's what's unique. I mean, I even think about like guys like Ryan Mikesell and Trey Landers, who their last game ever as a Flyer, like your last game ever as a Flyer was in Indianapolis in the NCAA tournament. Trey Landers, Ryan Mikesell, they were headed as the number 3 team, a potential 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Their last game was on the day, the day the game day was in town. I mean, it was such a special feeling in the city. That's the last time they played there. Them, yourself, you guys never thought you'd play at UD Arena again. You guys have a chance this year. How much of a driving motivation is that to take care of business at the Covelli in Columbus and punch your ticket to the quarter round at UD Arena?
Yeah, it's really motivating. Like, man, already Columbus will be crazy because we're so close. But imagine if we come back to UD Arena and we met a couple of the supporters yesterday at Milano's and we had dinner. And they was just all saying, like, I can't wait till you come back. And we coming up to Columbus, but we want you to get back to UD Arena. But, man, I told a couple of them, like, I played a tournament game in the arena when we was in the first 4. And it was crazy. Like, we couldn't even hear ourselves. Like, we was using hand signals to call plays. It was so loud. It might not get to that, but it will still be crazy. And we have to get back here and not only get back here, but win it all, host the trophy at the end.
Yeah, how special would that be again? And, even as a whole, for Dayton Flyers fans, there hasn't been 13,000 fans in that arena. I'm not saying that's how many people would be there for the TBT, but it wouldn't surprise me. We haven't seen UD Arena packed since game day was in town due to COVID. So this could be a very special opportunity and a special run. I'm looking forward to it. I want to get your thoughts on this, Kendall, before we let you go. I mentioned Archie Miller earlier, and, we know he was a part of that special run with you guys, to the Elite Eight and those tournament appearances after. I don't like when, if a coaching situation doesn't work out with the program, it doesn't mean the coach is bad. We know how good of a coach Archie Miller is. Were you surprised it didn't work at Indiana, though? Were you surprised that didn't work?
Yeah, I was very surprised because, like you say, he's a great coach with a great, phenomenal supporting cast around him. It's just the Big Ten is just really, really competitive, and he had and I think Indiana only gave him 4. But in the Big Ten, it's tough because everybody's recruiting the same players, the same Midwest players. He didn't have, I don't know, man. He couldn't land the top recruits, I guess. So, yeah, I was very surprised because he has a really good system and he can coach his ass off, man. So I was really surprised that. But not this year, but the last year, I believe they would have went to the tournament. Mm-hmm. But, COVID happened and him not having a tournament appearance on his resume in Indiana, I think that really hurt him.
Yeah, definitely. We got Kendall Pollard, former Dayton Flyer, with us. The Red Scare will be in action on Saturday at 3 p.m. The TBT on WING. You can catch it right here on 1410 Wing AM. Kendall, I can't wait to call that game on Saturday. Former Flyer Norm Greavy and I are going to be on the call for that. We did the calls remotely last year. I know you were on the team last year, and we're so glad to be out of the studio calling it and to be live in front of fans. That's going to be so exciting. I bet you're jacked as well.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to see you there and the rest of the supporters to come out and watch us play.
All right, man. You guys kick ass. Best of luck. Thanks for your time today. Take care.
Appreciate it, man. You do the same.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight will be mostly cloudy, a low near 64. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy and humid, a high near 90. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed, for the knights in shining armor, and for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the sound of a popular American motorcycle. It's the sound of freedom, the open road, really good times. And this is what it sounds like with a drunk guy in it. How do you like the sound of that? Cops are cracking down on drunk motorcycle riders. If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested. Drunk riding, over the limit, under arrest. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Hi, this is Sales Manager Jason High of Germain Honda Beaver Creek. Personally, inviting you to take advantage of the 0% financing on the Honda HR-V, Passport, and Pilot. Germain Honda has over 200 new Hondas to choose from, including the redesigned 2021 Honda Ridgeline and the 2022 Honda Odyssey, plus over 30 of the brand new 2022 Honda Civics to choose from. Now that's a selection no one else in the region can claim. Route 35 just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
Back to school season is on. Get best-in-class savings at JCPenney. Gear up with 40% off backpacks from brands that always have their back. And shop smart on doorbusters across the store while they last all weekend long. That means stocking up on essentials like $5.99 select kids tees and $14.99 select kids shorts. Don't forget to use your coupon to save an extra 25% and check everything off your list in one easy trip. Weekdays are back in style. JCPenney. Offers and coupon valid through 8/4. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Right now, Staples one-subject notebooks are only 25 cents each, and Crayola 24-count crayons, 2-pocket polyfolders, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 50 cents each. So your student won't just be ready for school, there'll be tons of drawings to hang on the fridge ready.
We're going to need a bigger refrigerator.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back-to-school and get amazing prices for everything on your back-to-school list. Ends 9/18, limit 30, notebooks in store only. Offer may vary online.
You know, a few days ago while hanging out with my family, I noticed my father staring blankly at me. Something's not right, I thought. Is he having a stroke? Then I remembered to act fast, F-A-S-T, and did this quick test. F, face. I asked my father to smile. One side of his face drooped. A, arm. I asked him to lift both arms. No problem there. S, speech. I asked him to repeat a phrase. His speaking was slurred. T, time. I called 911 for immediate help. This way, he began receiving life-saving treatment in the ambulance. My father was out of the hospital in a few days, all because he made it to the hospital within an hour of his stroke. Practice recognizing the signs of a stroke so that you can act F-A-S-T, fast, to save a loved one.
This message is brought to you by the Ohio Department of Health's Coverdell Stroke Program.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great night out with friends. Looking for the best venue for your upcoming event or party? Check out our VIP suite at Polking Lane South. It's a unique, state-of-the-art VIP 8-lane luxury suite. It's not too soon to book your holiday party. Call today and let the good times roll. Let us book your holiday event at any of our centers. Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue, Polking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, or Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kingsridge Drive. Ho, ho, ho.
Hey gamers, Viral Esports grand opening is this Saturday starting at noon. With over 30 games to choose from like Warzone, Fortnite, NBA 2K, there is something for everyone. Free all day. DJs, food trucks, prizes, and more. Viral Compound, 2078 Dorothy Lane, Kettering.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hey Reds fans, make Sirius Automotive Repair your first choice for automotive service. Sirius Automotive Repair provides everything you need for summer maintenance: engine diagnostic, brake and cooling system repair, preventative maintenance, tire service, lube, oil and filter, and more. Sirius Automotive technicians offer the very best and most efficient auto repair experience. Call 937-335-2285 or online at TroyAutoFix.com. Stop in at 201 South Market Street in Troy and see Bill and the crew today. Go Reds!
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. The Reds are on the radio.
Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local. What are you gonna miss? Strike him out. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Couple Cincinnati Reds transactions that were just announced earlier today. We have an update on Nick Castellanos, kinda. So Nick Castellanos, who of course has been out since the second game of the second half of the regular season, he has been placed on the 10-day injured list, retroactive to July 20th. Again, with that right wrist injury. You know, he was on Chris Rose's podcast the other day on Instagram Live or YouTube. I can't remember where the side of the podcast, but regardless, talked about how he could barely pick up a bat. And that's not good news for the Reds. And hopefully this is just a minor injury. I know it's the 10-day IL and it's redshirted, July 20th. But keep in mind, a lot of times before an injury really, settles in as being serious, you'll get a couple of these 10-day IL stints before you really kind of get the vibe of what the long-term effects are going to be. The Reds will be without Amir Garrett for the weekend. He was placed on the 3-day paternity list. Recalled from AAA Louisville, Vladimir Gutierrez. Gutierrez got absolutely shelled the other night against the Mets, and so they'll have him back up, or they'll have him in Louisville, or from Louisville. And then Alejo Lopez, in his limited time, has actually been pretty solid at the plate, but we'll see. Again, right now the Reds just starting to get beat up by injuries. It's been the injuries to the pitchers that have hurt the Reds in the first half of the season and has carried over, but now you're starting to see some position players miss time, including Nick Castellanos, and hopefully soon the Reds will get back Mike Moustakas, which could definitely help. Again, add a little bit more pop in that lineup, which is something that I think the Reds desperately need. I mentioned earlier the Cincinnati Bengals bringing in Austin Reeder, who previously played for the Chiefs, for a workout on Monday, which was first reported by Tom Pelissero. He will not be alone. There are expected to be 2 other offensive linemen with him as the Bengals assess options to fill out the back of their roster. Now, Paul Dehner Jr., who covers the Bengals for The Athletic, went on to clarify that the Bengals have picked up, that they also picked up center Lamont Galliard off waivers yesterday, and now Reeder. So it seems odd, but nothing is wrong with Trey Hopkins and Billy Price other than the, struggles of talent, but Hopkins isn't terrible, of course. And Billy Price, go Bucks. So he has that going for him. Bottom line is that's why earlier when I had brought this up, I was like, man, something doesn't seem right. Why now? Why just, the final seconds before camp begins, do you go and add these guys? I mean, what was stopping you from being aggressive of addressing the offensive line? I don't know, during free agency where the better offensive linemen were. Where was this aggressiveness during the draft? I don't know where the better offensive linemen were, but at least they have made, some attempts here. So there's nothing wrong with Trey Hopkins or Billy Price. This is strictly being done for depth purposes heading into camp. They are still solid, according to Paul Dehner Jr., talking about Hopkins and Billy Price, just more so being prepared as Hopkins still continues to work his way back from his ACL tear. And Billy Price, he could be cut. Who knows? Who knows if he doesn't have a good training camp, what the future of Billy Price could be too. So I think the Bengals right now are just, they're kind of throwing a lot of options out there and seeing what sticks. But I just don't know how many answers they have to a lot of the question marks when it does come to that offensive line. So this was a big story out of the NFL today. That Rick Dennison, he is out as Minnesota Vikings assistant coach after refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. After refusing to receive the vaccine, Dennison was, as reported earlier by Courtney Cronin and Adam Schefter of ESPN, that he is out as Minnesota Vikings assistant coach. Dennison had served with the Vikings O-line as between the coach and the run game coordinator over the past 2 seasons. And then there was another coach in the league for the New England Patriots, co-offensive line coach Cole Popovich. Now, that name Popovich might sound familiar because there's a Greg Popovich in the National Basketball Association. There is a slight relation there. They are distant cousins, I believe. I don't know why. It was interesting that was highlighted in the article, but I think people were kind of intrigued by the name. But with the Patriots co-offensive line coach, which is a very weird tie. I mean, co-offensive coordinator, but an offensive line coach, and then you have a co-offensive line coach. Okay, more power to you. But in a memo released by the league this summer, the NFL said that any unvaccinated Tier 1 staff members must provide a valid religious or medical reason for not receiving the vaccine. Losing Tier 1 status prohibits coaching from being on the field and in the meeting rooms and having direct interaction with players. So now you have a situation where yesterday we were talking about the players who were very vocal and very upset as they, in their minds, believe they are being forced to do something. Stop being soft. You are not being forced to do anything. You are being required to do certain things. You are not being forced to do anything. Stop being dramatic. Stop trying to make everyone feel sorry for you. I'm not saying that this should be, that there's not, that this is an easy thing to go through. Nobody likes change, as we talked about earlier. But the bottom line is you're not being forced to do anything. You are required by your company to fulfill these duties to be able to play. And if you can't fulfill these duties, then you can't play. It's not that hard. Being forced means that you don't have a choice. Being forced means that whether you play football or don't play football, you have to get jabbed with the needle. That's not what this is. They are simply giving you options, and there are clearly better options. The better option is get the vaccine and play. You don't want to get the vaccine, you could still play, but it's not going to be very comfortable. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of hearing about, in the list of athletes that have come out and basically just tried to make everyone feel sorry for them, and I don't. Our jobs, I'm not going to go and repeat yesterday's show and yesterday's rant, but this is getting absolutely ridiculous. No one is being forced to do anything. Nobody. They are not being treated any differently than you, me, or anybody else that has a boss that has a job. Every job is different. Every employer requires different things to come back post-COVID. It is what it is. Suck it up, Buttercup. It's all. It really just comes down to doing your job. And if you don't want to do your job, there are going to be plenty of people lined up to do it for you. Will they be as good as you? Probably not. But the NFL, they cycle through talent. They will find talent. They will not be lost without you. DeAndre Hopkins yesterday, kind of threatening to maybe I just won't play anymore. Don't. It's not that hard. But it was. This isn't a secret. I don't feel bad for any of the situation. The people who are getting so fired up about this, I'll never understand why you're getting so fired up. You keep doing this thing where I don't want to be told what to do. That's called a job. You're told what to do every day. When you stop at stop signs and you stop at red lights. All right, every law that you follow, every day that you wake up and don't kill somebody, you're technically doing what you're supposed to do. So stop with this dramatic, stop telling me what to do. Be quiet. Be quiet. I'm tired of people tiptoeing around it. Oh, it's a vaccine. We got to respect everyone's feelings. I do respect everyone's feelings. I respect their mindset on the vaccine of whether they want to get it or not. But I'm really irritated with the mindset that we don't have to get the vaccine, and you should also let us play and be around a bunch of people who aren't vaccinated either and just let it spread everywhere. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You have a company, a multi-billion-dollar industry in the NFL who is basically covering their own behind, saying we are not going to risk all of our money and all of our resources over this situation when there is a resolution to the problem. Get the vaccine. And if you don't get the vaccine, there's a path for that too. Enough of this. I'm going to the comment section on Facebook. I got to find this one. Where to go? So Alan Larrick on Facebook, he messages into the show. Actually, before that, Chad Penrod on Facebook says, coaches are being fired for not taking a COVID test. Shake my head, just wrong. It's not wrong. It's really not. Because the tier 1 level of athletes, look, this is happening. The coaches, you're in the coaching rooms, you're shoulder to shoulder, you're with players, you're around a lot of people that help make the machine go. And if you're going to slow down the machine, it's a risk that the NFL doesn't have to take. They don't have to take it. I'm just not, I'm not a fan of that. So Alan Larrick says, it's ridiculous that people are losing their livelihoods because of remarks made by the commissioner of the NFL. How can teams forfeit when it's out of their control? It's not out of their control. What Alan, people are, so he goes on to say the NFL Players Union must be a joke. The NFL Players Union is not a joke. The NFL basically coming out one more time to readdress this. How can teams forfeit when it's out of their control? So Allen is referring to yesterday's conversation about Commissioner Roger Goodell telling teams that you have to get vaccinated, and if you are not vaccinated and you test positive and you spread the virus and there's an outbreak, that they can contact trace back to you. If it is contact traced back to an individual who was not vaccinated, they then are held accountable and that team will have to forfeit. Now, everyone out there keeps using the same lazy argument of, well, if you get vaccinated, you could still test positive. Yes, you can. And if they contact trace it back to you, that you had it and spread it, now you're not held accountable. So people who have to miss time, if there is enough players who are vaccinated and then the virus runs through everybody and then guess what? If you have a certain amount of people vaccinated and that ends up happening, which science says not going to happen, people will test positive. All right, that's not going to go away even if you have the vaccine, but it limits the risk. It lessens the chance. Not one single person out there has said, well, actually Biden seems a little confused. I know that's a shocker to a lot of people. President Biden seems a little confused. He said, I think in his town hall the other day, that you don't get, you will not test positive. You will not get it if you get vaccinated. That's not true, but your chances decrease. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to understand this. And then to sit there and say that, something that's it is in your control. It is in your control whether you get the vaccine or not. That's called options. That's called choices. Scott Campbell says, if my boss told me to do something and I told him no, I'd be fired. It's that simple. I mean, this is a little bit more complicated than, hey, take out the trash. No, you're fired. But that's not what's going on here. Technically, they're not saying no to a demand. They are saying no to criteria. To work here, you must obey this, this, and this. Okay, cool. On you go. Everything in life is about following a criteria, following rules. To act like everyone out there can't be told what to do it's ridiculous. I cannot believe the things I have read from athletes the last 24 hours of everyone trying to pretend to be victimized by this. It's an absolute joke. No one is forcing you to get the vaccine. They are basically telling you, hey, we know you're pretty good at football. We know you're under contract. If you'd like to remain an employee here, here's what you have to do. And if you don't want to adhere to this, best of luck in your future endeavors. That doesn't sound like being held down and forced against your will to me. That seems like an option. That seems like a choice. And it seems like they made their choice. I don't feel bad for these coaches who are getting fired for knowing what's up, because clearly the NFL said, the NFL had stated, if you could provide a medical reason why you can't get vaccinated, if you could provide religious proof as to why you can't get vaccinated, then we can overlook it. So clearly the coach that got fired for the Vikings could not prove that it was religious or health matters as to why he didn't want to get it. He just didn't want to get it. That's simple. There are ways around it. And he couldn't check those off. So clearly it's just a matter of he didn't want to get it. He has that right. And his right has put him in position to not get it. It doesn't mean that everything else has to follow in line. I'm really curious where this is going to go. I think it's only going to get worse. I think more players and athletes are going to double down on this. But at the same time, it's easy to talk a big game now. But as the season gets closer, the teammates are going to start to get a little chippy and uncomfortable with, hey, you guys are ruining ours. You're ruining our chances at making money. You're messing up our opportunities. But hey, this was smart. This was very smart of the NFL. Divide and conquer. Well, they don't have to be the bad guy. They just have to look, they're all puppets. I don't want to be told what to do. You're a puppet. You are literally falling into the trap of the NFL. Colleges are doing it too. Hey, we're not going to make you get it. But if you don't, you're going to have to go through a couple. You're not going to be comfortable. There's going to be something. You have to wear the mask, social distance, blah, 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 blah. Get tested daily. Stuff that's uncomfortable. But hey, they got to cover their behind. I heard Colin Cowherd say it perfectly earlier today when he said, people keep saying, oh, my rights, my rights. Well, employers have rights. Businesses have rights. They have the right to mandate you to, actually not to mandate, they have the right to require you to get vaccinated to work there. They're not going to force you. They're not going to hold you down. They're not going to stab you with the needle as you're screaming for help, as they're holding you down. No, it's, hey, we need you to willingly get in a car or walk to your local pharmacy, wherever, or your doctor, and get the vaccine. That's it. That's not being forced. It's no different than, hey, to work here, you got to pee in this cup, and you have to make sure you don't fail the drug test. Oh, my rights. I can't believe you're making me pee in this cup. No one's making you pee in a cup. It's just you got to pee in that cup if you want to work here. Oh, okay. It's that simple. Stop being outraged for the sake of being outraged. Making me all annoyed on a Friday. I was in a good mood here on a Friday, and now I'm reading all these comments. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Doesn't make any sense. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I just like to always bring that up. I'm not judging you one way or another on your views on the vaccine. I am just poking at those who feel like they live in a world that their employer can't tell them what to do. That's the whole nature of work. You work for people. They tell you what to do. If you want money, you have to do what they tell you to do to make that money. You are not bigger than the employer. You are not bigger than the NFL. I am not bigger than Alpha Media. I am not bigger than ESPN Dayton. I'm 5'5". I'm not really bigger than any. I might be a little bit, fatter than some, but I'm not bigger than anybody or anything. It is what it is. Do what's asked of you. If you don't want to do it, fine. good luck in your future endeavors. We talked about the Cleveland Indians announcing their name change. They will now become the Cleveland Guardians beginning in 2022. A lot of opinions coming in on that. We'll take more of a look at that coming up around the corner. As I stated with that, I don't have an issue with it. I think it's fine. I don't like the name. I didn't have a problem with the Cleveland Indians name. I did not like the Cleveland Indians logo of the red Indian face. I completely understand why that was a bother to some. But the overall name itself, I mean, it's just, I don't understand how that bothers people. But just because it doesn't bother me doesn't mean it's not bothersome. Just because it doesn't offend me doesn't mean it's not offensive. But overall, I just don't like the name that they called it. But I thought that the Pelicans was a stupid name. I still think the Pelicans is a horrible NBA name, but yet we just talk about the Pelicans like it's not, oh yeah, the Pelicans, they have Zion Williams, and you move on. And that's what will happen here. Everyone will move on. Texas, Oklahoma to the SEC. Unbelievable what's transpiring here. The news Friday that Texas and Oklahoma could make their move to the SEC official in a matter of weeks continues to shake the foundation of the Big 12 Conference and beyond. The initial report caught many high-ranking officials in college athletics off guard. In fact, it kind of sent shockwaves through the Big 10 media days, the Big 12 media days, SEC media days. What I love about these conference media days every year is that every year there is some kind of bombshell that really sets the tone heading into the season. The reporters have stories that they sit on and they wait for media days to basically drop them because they know that every conference, every Power 5 conference is having their media day and every coach has to answer to the media. Every athletic director and president is answering to the media. So it's very interesting. It's very smart of the media because right now this is supposed to be the dog days of summer where there's not a whole lot of content going on, right? There's baseball, but basketball is over. Football's not going on. It's on the brink. We're about to get there. There's not a whole lot going on. So this is kind of like the explosion into the 2021 college football season. Dropping this bombshell was humongous. Okay. It wasn't necessarily a secret, technically, as there has been rumors about this going back to last year, but because of the cloud of COVID that covered pretty much all of sports media, not a lot of people really paid attention to that. Plus, it sounded weird. Texas isn't going to the SEC. Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. Give me a break. That's not going to happen. Texas and Oklahoma could make the move to the SEC in a matter of weeks. Reports came out today that apparently talks between the SEC and the schools had been going on for over 6 months. Greg Sankey, I don't know what the status of his marriage is, but if his wife ever asked him if he is having an affair, and he said, no, I did not, she might believe him. He's a very good liar. The other day on the podium, when he was asked about the possibility of this, and again, it broke in the middle of the SEC media days, he straight up lied. I have no clue what you're talking about. I mean, just played absolute dumb. Good for him. Good for him. I mean, he must make a lot of money playing poker. I'm just going to say that. Like, good for him. But if these talks between the SEC and these two schools have been going on for 6 months, the wheels have been in motion for this for quite some time, and good for them for keeping it quiet as long as they have. But every year at the Big 10 media days or conference media days in general, there's a bombshell that is released. Brett McMurphy a couple of years ago, of course, basically dropped the bombshell on Urban Meyer and the Zach Smith situation. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? Like every year there seems to be some big storyline. We thought that the Big 10 media day was going to be dominated by the coverage of Michigan. And when it came to, a lot of the sexual assault allegations and some of the, the findings that had come out about, their former legendary coach in Bo Schembechler. So the bottom line is I thought that, and Kevin and I have talked about that a lot. We thought that was going to be the headline of Big 10 media days. But right now, Texas, Oklahoma to the SEC, that's been the talk that has dominated that. We'll get into more of that coming up here in hour number 5 in the 5 o'clock hour. Can't do 5 hours. Are you kidding me? Jake Whiting says, not really. It's not even FDA approved, so I understand why they are hesitant. That's all I'm saying. I don't give a fill in the blank, Jake, if they're hesitant. They could be hesitant. They have the right to be hesitant. They don't have to get it. They don't. And they're not going to, and that's fine. But they need to stop acting like they are being victimized by the NFL. Sorry, I just went real quick back. I know all the reasons why some are hesitant to get it. You have the right not to get it. Don't get it. I applaud you using your American freedom to not get the vaccine. But you can't brag about the freedom of America for not getting the vaccine and then get mad at the freedom of companies in America, you taking advantage of their freedom. They have the right as well to tell you to work here, you have to do this. There's companies here. There's a company here in Dayton that I applied for right out of college that said, if you smoke cigarettes, you can't work here. I don't smoke cigarettes. I can't afford them. I secondhand smoke. It's much cheaper. But I found that very interesting that a company around here, and I guess at that year it would have been 2015, that a company actually said, if you smoke cigarettes, you will not work here. Very weird. This is America. This is America. America. I can smoke cigarettes if I want to. It's my right. My rights. I can smoke cigarettes. My rights. Give me a break. You have the right to smoke. You have the right not to smoke. If you smoke, you can't work there. And we all move on. I don't smoke, so I could have worked there. Just didn't get the job. I suck. But it's fine. Totally fine. This was back in 2015. Whatever. Point is, every company has its own criteria. Bottom line. It's that simple. That's simple. If you want it, get it. If you don't want it, don't get it. I applaud you either way. I'm not one of those. I'm not going to do the woke Sports Center thing with everyone and say, "Oh man, you have to get it. You have to get it." I don't know what it's like to be caught up in that to say I don't want to get it. So I'm not going to tell you that it's wrong to not want to get it or to get it. But stop acting like the world does not. That it's not going to. That it has to bow down to your decision. It can bow. You have the right to do it. But they have the right to tell you, but you can't work here then. That's simple. And they're not even technically doing that. They're saying you can work here. It's just going to be not as comfortable as everybody else. Secondhand smoking is cheaper. Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, for those of you out there who only smoke when you drink, and I love that. Oh, do you smoke? No. When I drink, I do. So you smoke. I mean, it's really not. But here's the tip. Don't ever buy cigarettes. If you're just out at a bar, or you're out at a party, just bum a cigarette from somebody. If you're only only smoke when I drink people, cigarettes are expensive. Don't smoke, though, or smoke, whatever. America, freedom, smoke your cigs. We'll be back. John Diebler, former Buckeye, the all-time leading scorer in OHSA history. He's going to join us on the other side of the break. We'll talk about Carmen's Crew. They tip off the TBT tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on 1410 Wing AM. I'll be bringing you the games live from the Cavelli Center. I'm excited to be hanging out with John Diebler on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
O'Reilly.
If you're ready for an oil change, trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car. Right now, get 5 quarts of Valvoline full.
It may be hot right now, but Rural King can help you beat the heat during the dog days of summer. With fans to cool you off, hoses to help keep your lawn and plants looking their best, and driveway sealer for that last summer project. And if you're ahead of schedule on your projects, you can get started on fall by pre-booking wood pellets and stocking up on bedding. Get everything you need for your last summer projects and get started on your fall ones at Rural King, America's farm and home store.
Research shows people remember radio ads that remind them of the past. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's an ad that'll really take you back.
Back in my day, I heard a voice from the radio say, Liberty Mutual customizes my home insurance so I only pay for what I need. I'm getting on in years now, but heavens to Betsy, there are some things an old fella like me just never forgets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get savings on Pro Essentials at the Lowe's Just for Pros event going on now. Save on select appliance special values. Plus, save an additional $50 when you buy 2 or more appliances, each priced $396 or more. Find more savings throughout the store at Lowe's, the new home for pros. Must ask cashier to apply discount in store. Online must use promo code. Can't be combined with any other discounts. See Lowe's.com for exclusions and terms. Valid 7/15 through 8/4. U.S. only.
Tired of deciding what to cook tonight? Frickers is ready when you are with everyone's favorite ribs and frickin' chicken chunks. Tender baby back ribs and frickin' chicken chunks, only $12.99 dine-in only. Take the day off as kids 10 and under eat free every day. And you can relax and let Frickers take care of everything. Baby back ribs, frickin' chicken chunks, and kids eat free at the one place that makes lunch, dinner, or late night easy. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Baby back. Baby back.
Rittal North America LLC in Urbana will be hosting on-site walk-in interviews every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in July from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Rittal offers great pay, benefits, and has immediate openings seeking experienced welders, machine operators, paint unloaders, and paint loaders. Attend one of the on-site walk-in interviews at Rittal or apply today by sending your resume to Katie McKee at mckee.k@rittal.us. That's mckee.k@rittal.us. Rittal is proud to be an affirmative action and equal opportunity employer.
Folks, you won't find old Roy at Homestead Feed and Supply. We carry raw-coated Canidae, a new product. Less in, less out. Best breed, an Ohio company. Blue Buffalo and other premium dog foods. Because you love your dog, Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton, Lakeview Road. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager, Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. When you need service, we're here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 6 to 8 and Saturdays from 7 to 5. We proudly offer a state-of-the-art facility with factory-trained technicians, clean waiting room, and service department. Loaner cars are available during service and free alignment checks with any service. Be sure to stop in and ask for our $39.95 oil change special. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, State Route 35, east of 675, between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Menards is your complete bathroom headquarters. We have what you need to give your bathroom a fresh, new look from top brands. Browse our large selection of Sterling showers, tubs, surrounds, and glass doors to fit your style. All Sterling tubs and showers are 11% off at Menards. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through July 24th. Savings or mail-in rebates. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Buying a car on the internet, this is for you.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. If you're buying a car online, here are a few easy steps to keep yourself safe. Just remember CAR. C, contact the seller to confirm their identity. A, assignment, a title free and clear of liens and properly assigned. R, research. Find a way to pay for the car by using a secure method where you can dispute the charge in case of fraud. Call us at 225-4480.
Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the course keeps changing right before your eyes. Whoa! And in order to maneuver it, you need an expert by your side. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the tech solutions you need to help you get out in front and stay ahead of the game. Woo! Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL and do more with modern devices in Windows 10 Pro.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Right now, Staples 1-subject notebooks are only 25 cents each, and Crayola 24-count crayons, 2-pocket poly folders, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 50 cents each. So your student won't just be ready for school, there'll be tons of drawings to hang on the fridge ready.
We're going to need a bigger refrigerator.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back-to-school and get amazing prices for everything on your back-to-school list. Ends 9/18, limit 30, notebooks in store only. Offer may vary online.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
You good? Anything you want to talk about? Here if you need me. Just want to check in. Appreciate you. Everyone feels less than okay sometimes. They may not want your advice, but they may welcome your ear. Be present is a simple but powerful way to be there for others, especially now when many are separated. Help teens and young adults find their power, conquer the difficult times, and get to a better tomorrow. Be present, Ohio.
Sponsored by the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation and aired in cooperation with the OAB and this station.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We're live. We're local. What are you gonna miss? He struck him out. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
We got the TBT on WING coming up here later on tonight. Last year, we debuted the TBT on WING, of course, during the COVID-stricken season that, of course, came at you live from the bubble. But the TBT returning back to their regional formats, of course, and playing in front of fans. And we're excited. We're going to be at the Cavelli Center all weekend, bringing you every Carmen's Crew game as well as every Dayton Flyers Red Scare game. My favorite kind of team in the TBT is always the alumni teams. I love watching a lot of my favorite former Buckeyes who I watched growing up reunite on the hardwoods, playing with a lot of their former teammates and playing with some other Buckeye alumnus too, who have been a part of the rich history of Ohio State basketball, of course. And the same thing goes for the Dayton Flyers, to get to see Kendall Pollard, who we had on the show yesterday, and Ryan Mikesell and Trey Landers. And then on Carmen's Crew, of course, you have John Diebler, who's joining us now and hanging out with us. John, welcome on. I appreciate you, the all-time leading scorer in OHSA history, and Carmen's Crew shooting guard, former Buckeye, hanging out with us today. John, how are you, man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so again, this is much different than last year. You never know how special something is until it's taken from you for a bit, and I think we saw that last year. The fans are back, and you get to play in Columbus again tonight in front of these Ohio State fans. How jacked are you for your game tonight at 9 o'clock?
We're excited. I think I could probably speak for all players and teams in the TBT. We're pretty excited to play in front of fans again, especially our team, and I'm sure for the Dayton team as well with being here in Ohio. Multiple teams from Ohio in our region. It's nice to play here in front of our fans, go to the Cavelli Center, which is a beautiful, beautiful facility. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm heading to the Cavelli immediately following the show today. I've never been over there. Looking forward to that. And walk us through this. What are practices like? Because a lot of times people are like, well, tell me about the TBT. Is it like Y ball where just a bunch of guys just get together and play a little pickup ball? It's definitely not that. It is very intense. It has grown more and more popular amongst viewers as each year has gone on. What are it's one thing to talk about the games, John, but what about the practices gearing up? Like, you guys aren't just, here screwing around in the gym. You guys are ramping up. You guys want to make a deep run in this thing.
No, for sure. It's guys come in, prepare themselves mentally, physically. We go through plays, we go through certain situations, what we're going to do offensively, defensively, and we obviously get some run in amongst ourselves, playing some 5-on-5 against each other to stay in shape and get some game situations. So it's very similar to probably what guys do professionally overseas in their respective leagues. So it's definitely not a joke. We obviously have fun being around each other and playing with each other during the games and in practice, but it's business.
What went wrong last year against House of Pain? I think they caught a lot of teams by surprise last year. They made a nice little run in the TBT last year. Obviously, you played against them last year. That's not who you have tonight. But what went wrong against House of Pain last year for you guys in your first round matchup?
Oh, they played really well. Got to give them a lot of credit. They played well. We didn't play as best as we could have. That was our first game. They had played a game before that, and they're a good team. They're a very, very good team. We knew that going into it. I don't think we overlooked them at all. I mean, in tournaments like these, it doesn't matter where you're seated. Everyone is good. There's, you lose, you're out, so you can't overlook anyone. But it was a tough game. They were played very hard, played very well, and they were better than us that day. So again, for us, we're kind of refocusing, and we have a tough game tonight. We got a tough one. We got a Mid-American Unity team, a lot of guys that we're familiar with and that are familiar with us, guys that we know personally that we work out with. So it'll be fun. We're looking forward to it, but it'll be a tough game. Should be entertaining.
Yeah, I talked with Kendall Pollard yesterday, and we were talking about, how special it is to just hit the hardwood again with a lot of your former teammates, but the chance to do it on your old home floor. And I know the Covelli is not your old home floor technically, but you're playing in front of your old home fans, in front of your hometown fans. You're playing, on the campus of Ohio State University, so that's awesome. The Flyers, Red Scare, they want to get to UD Arena for obvious reasons. We've seen how special Wichita State's atmosphere is whenever they're playing in front of their home fans. You have your home fans tonight, but how crazy do you anticipate if you guys are fortunate enough to advance through this weekend? And same thing with Red Scare. How crazy of an environment do you believe? I don't want to look too far ahead, but how crazy of an environment are you anticipating if somehow, some way, you and Red Scare cross paths at UD Arena on July 31st?
If it's anything like 2 years ago at Capitol, I mean, at a bigger facility, I can't imagine. It'll be a lot of fun. That's Red Scare is a great team. 2 years ago, we had an incredible game against them. I was just hanging out with one of their players, very good friend of mine, former Buckeye Jordan Seibert, was over at the house last night. So I haven't seen Jordan in about 8 or 9 years. So it was good to catch up with him. Great team, man. Well coached, great players, great guys. But I'm sure they're taking it one game at a time, just like we are. We're fortunate enough to make it that far and meet up with them. I'm sure UD Arena will be rocking. So, because Capitol we were talking about that last night. Man, when we played them 2 years ago, it was incredible. The atmosphere with UD fans and Ohio State fans, it was pretty awesome.
What's crazy is I remember a bunch of friends of mine and we were at a sports bar here in Dayton watching the Red Scare against Carmen's Crew in 19. And, we're all like, are we really ramped up for this? It's weird that we're getting ramped up for this, right? I'm like, no, this feels big time. That sports bar, John, was unbelievable. It was like March Madness in July. It was unbelievable. And that's how passionate these fan bases are. Now I have to throw this out there. Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye, but what the hell, CJ Walker, what are you doing? You guys couldn't make room for old CJ? What's going on there?
Listen, man, there's a lot of former players. You can only have so many guys on the roster. It's, I wish we could have every single former Buckeye on the team, but CJ's a great player, man. I enjoyed watching him at Ohio State. Obviously, he was one of the leaders on that team last year, and as a point guard, he was a very good player. So I think for Red Scare, it was a great addition. Hopefully in the future, maybe we can have him on our team. But I know Trevor Thompson's over there as well. We got to play against two former Buckeyes tonight. J.D. Weatherspoon and Ron Lewis hit probably one of the bigger shots in Ohio State history. So it'll be interesting to see how our fans react. I'm sure. I hope they cheer for those guys. But again, man, tonight, for us, it's a lot of familiarity with those guys. Their coach, Coach Joyce, Cam. A lot of those guys we know from playing high school AAU against each other, playing professionally against each other. So it'll be fun. It'll be competitive, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, you guys got Aaron Kraft, of course, a lot of the familiar characters. I thought Kraft was supposed to be done last year. I'm glad his schedule opened up. I'm sure you guys are happy about that as well. But you have a lot of experience on this roster, and then you add some new ones this year as well. How about Kosta Koufos? I was real jacked when I saw the news of him being added to the roster. Now, Caleb Wesson is no longer on the roster. What if you don't have to say what happened, but he is no longer on the roster, correct? Can you confirm that?
No, Caleb is prepping for Summer League, which I think Jared tweeted about it, man. Obviously we would love to have Caleb on the team. But man, any opportunity he gets to work out for an NBA team or play Summer League, we support that one. That's more important in our
absolutely.
eyes. So Caleb is going to prep for Summer League and get ready for that. And, we support him 100,000%. We're behind him. And so, but yeah, we're excited to have Coop. Obviously a big body who's, his resume speaks for itself. So we're excited to have him. Hopefully we can kind of put it all together and do a little better than last year.
All right, Carmen's Crew, John Diebler hanging out with us. I'll be on the call tonight, 9 p.m. from the Cavelli Center. It's the TBT on WING. Carmen's Crew. Again, the last time this tournament was held in front of fans, Carmen's Crew won the championship that year, and they're looking to make that run again. Again, starting in Columbus the way they did years ago, and they'll be in action tonight. Carmen's Crew against Mid-American Unity on ESPN, 9 o'clock Eastern tonight. And then, of course, you can catch it right here on 1410 Wing AM. John, I just had somebody ask me who I'm pulling for. I will say I'm pulling for, obviously, Carmen's Crew and Red Scare until the quarterfinal. Then I got to figure out where my allegiance follows. I would like to say, I'd like to say you guys, but you and Buford still piss me off because I go back to my high school days. You ruined my junior year of high school when you beat Van Wert in the regional semifinals, and then Toledo Libby and Buford ended my high school career the next year at Bowling Green. So I'm a little salty about that still, but it's hard to not pull for you guys. I tell you that much.
Well, hopefully, Red Scare and our team can make it that far. And then I feel like you're in a win-win then. If whoever wins, in your eyes, it's like I'm going to root for both, So,
and see, I don't know why I remember.
I know they're going to take it. Yeah, they're going to take it one game at a time. I know we have to. So we'll see what happens. This is a fun event, man. The TBT is awesome.
Oh, it's
awesome to watch all these games. It's awesome to reconnect with friends, guys you played against. So it's a good time.
Yeah, and again, I don't know why I remember this, but that game that you guys beat us in high school at Toledo, regional semifinals, we held you to 24 points that game. I'm a nerd for remembering it because that was like our big accomplishment. We held the mighty John Diebler to 24 points. But then your damn point guard, Alex Falk, goes off for 28, and he's the one that killed us down the stretch. But we just figured the stall ball thing, that's how we were going to slow you down. That's just no stall ball tonight.
It was a good game. I love playing at Toledo, Savage Hall. It was a fun venue.
Absolutely. We appreciate your team making it a fun venue, too. That place was rocking. But, hey, John, you got to get ready for tonight's game. I appreciate you hanging out with us today. Best of luck. We'll talk later. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for having me.
All right, there he is, John Diebler again. He'll be in action tonight. Carmen's Crew. Looking forward to watching them in action and calling the game right here on 1410 Wing AM. All right, hour 3 coming up. We'll have more TBT coverage. Keep in mind, all local TBT coverage leading into this weekend has been brought to you by Timothy's Bar and Grill. Timothy's Bar and Grill is one of our favorite partners here at 1410 Wing AM. They are going to be a part of all of the WING Dayton Flyers pregame coverage this coming up season. Sully from Talking Out Loud. We did a lot of work with him in Timothy's Bar and Grill last year. Looking forward for that again coming up, and we're excited about them partnering up with us for the coverage of the TBT on WING. Hour 3 coming up next. We'll take your calls at 457-9464. We've talked about a lot today. I want to talk about Big Ten Media Days. I'm done talking about the COVID issues. I want to dive into this Texas to SEC as well as Oklahoma stuff. That's all coming up. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Hour 3 coming up next.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight will be mostly cloudy, a low near 64. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy and humid, a high near 90. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough. And the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Back
Back to school season is on. Get best-in-class savings at JCPenney. Gear up with 40% off backpacks from brands that always have their back. And shop smart on doorbusters across the store while they last all weekend long. That means stocking up on essentials like $5.99 select kids tees and $14.99 select kids shorts. Don't forget to use your coupon to save an extra 25% and check everything off your list in one easy trip. Weekdays are back in style. JCPenney. Offers and coupon valid through 8/4. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
The real estate market is always tough, but this market, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. When the average home stays on the market just 24 days and houses routinely go for more than the listing price, who you work with matters. Realtors have the expertise, local knowledge, and personal touch to give you a competitive advantage throughout the entire home buying process. And that's something an ordinary agent could never do. So make sure your agent is a realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the US that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com. You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Hi, Pete Kasuja here to tell you that if you're looking for the very best selection of your favorite garden plants, we grow over 125 varieties of tomatoes, peppers, cabbage, broccoli, cucumbers, cantaloupe, and eggplants. And if you haven't tried our famous Neighbor Beater tomato and pepper plants, come out and pick up a few and enjoy the best taste you ever had from your garden. They taste so good you'll wish you planted more. And remember, Neighbor Beater garden plants are sold only at our garden center at 1309 Brant Pike. So get out that shovel and start digging. It's time for gardens, bedding plants, rose bushes, vines, ground cover, shade trees and shrubs, bird baths and fountains, and so much more. So join the Green Revolution and come out to see us at 1309 Brant Pike, where we're open 7 days.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
At Lowe's, we know your home is an expression of you, and we see you walking down these aisles of possibility, running your finger on that marble top Allen & Roth Venti, regularly $5.99, but now $3.49, and finding that perfect rattan pendant at an everyday low price of $99.98. In our showrooms of style, you'll find whatever you're into at a price you'll really get into. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, see associate at Lowe's.com for details. Valid through 8/29/21, U.S. only.
Attorney Joe Cordell. For many men, divorce brings a bewildering sense of loss. You feel adrift, isolated, like you're the only person in the world. But the good news is you're not alone. Cordell & Cordell is here to help. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has been there to guide men through all aspects of divorce, and we'll be there for you.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Dayton area attorneys. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431.
Don't miss Lowe's Just for Pros event going on now. Get savings across the store, including tools, paint, lighting, and other pro essentials. Shop in store or at Lowe's.com. Lowe's, the new home for pros.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, The Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back. We have the TBT on WING tonight, tipping off at 9 o'clock. Carmen's Crew will be in action. And then tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we'll have Dayton Flyers Red Scare action right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Happy Friday. We've getting to the final portions here of the show. I want to jump into this. We'll get to take a look at the Reds matchup tonight with the Cardinals game one. Huge series, not just for the outcome of the upcoming 3 months of the season, but for the possibly the next 3 years. And I'll explain coming up here in just a moment. So here's what we know so far about Oklahoma and Texas trying to join the SEC. Because that's what this is. This sounds like it's more of a courting. It's less of the, and I'm not saying the SEC does not want these two programs. If there's ever two teams in the Big 12 that you want, of course, it's these two teams. So I'm not saying that the SEC is not courting these teams, but this sounds more proactive on the side of Oklahoma and Texas. Now, to be fair, they kind of have to. Their TV rights deal goes through 2025. It's only 2021. And we're heading into the 2021 season. So you still have all of 22, 23, 24, and 25. You still have 4 long-ass years after this if they're going to try and kind of navigate through this. Now, according to multiple sources, representatives from both Oklahoma and Texas have had informal discussions with the SEC about leaving the Big 12 and joining the Southeast Conference over the past several months now. So the program's first step would be to notify the Big 12 that they will not intend to extend their existing media rights deals with the conference, which that doesn't expire until June 30th of 25. Then Texas President Jay Hartzell and Oklahoma President Joseph Haraz Jr., they would both then have to formally ask the SEC to be considered for membership. Now, with that, it's not just as simple as the SEC saying, sure, come on over. Make yourself at home. The Longhorns and the Sooners would both need a 2/3 majority vote with 11 of the 14 schools to be approved to join the conference. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We hear all the time about, schools that would block other members, other schools from joining a conference, whether it be due to geographical reasons, recruiting trail, being on the recruiting trail and having to battle it out with certain schools. We know, for instance, in the Big Ten, I don't look at Cincinnati as this big threat. For one, I mean, you look at these premier programs in the Big Ten, like Penn State, Michigan, and others, and look how much they don't even seem to touch Ohio State. So I have a hard time believing that Cincinnati would hurt Ohio State, big picture. But at the same time, Ohio State doesn't even want to open the door to give them the opportunity to do it. So everyone says all the time that Ohio State, there's no way in hell that they would let the Bearcats into the Big Ten. That's an example right there. So with that being said, you have Texas A&M and the SEC, and apparently they've been kind of left in the dark as far as any discussions that have been happening about this, because many people believe that if you need the 11 of the 14 SEC schools to approve this, you're pretty much needing 11 of 13. You definitely need 11. You will basically need 11 of 13 schools because you already have a no. Texas A&M is not going to sign off on this. I do think that it would be great for that rivalry. I mean, imagine the Texas A&M game every year once again. You have Jimbo Fisher and now Sarkisian. That would be something very special right there. It would mean something. But you would get your Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. Imagine the Bama, Texas games. Imagine the Oklahoma, Bama games. Give me a break. Florida, Texas, Florida, Oklahoma. It would be bowl game central. Every week in the SEC would be New Year's Six bowl game-esque material. It would be unreal. It would also be too much. Too much of something is a bad thing sometimes. And I think that the reason I love conferences, I keep hearing people say, well, they need to just get rid of conferences in general. I disagree. I kind of like the SEC versus the Big Ten versus the Pac-12 versus the Big 12 versus the ACC. I like that every conference has its premier face of that particular conference. And I know that, success can come and go and everything along those lines. But I do love that when you think of the Pac-12, you think of USC, Oregon. USC, though, is the face of the Pac-12. When you think of the ACC, it's now Clemson. Florida State kind of in the early 2010s was kind of running that a little bit, But, I'm going to say, Clemson right now is the face of the ACC. We don't even need to really question the Big Ten. I think we know that it's Rutgers. No, I'm just joking. We know it's Ohio State. As good as the SEC is, even with the LSUs and even with the Auburns and even with the Georgias, it's Alabama. You don't even have to think about it. But that's what's interesting is Alabama, if you put LSU or Georgia, especially with the recent success and recent being within the last 5-6 years for Georgia more so than LSU. LSU has a long history of being a very good football program. You could put those, they would rival the faces of a lot of the other conferences. If LSU, you put them in the Pac-12, you think of Pac-12, you think of USC, but from a pure talent and recruiting and relevancy standpoint in the recent history, man, LSU would be the face of the Pac-12. Not necessarily, I get it. History will always be USC, but man, the face that runs that place would officially be LSU at that point. So there's a lot of potential faces of other conferences that are all under the SEC umbrella that basically get drowned out by Alabama. Okay. And you have Auburn in there as well. A lot of really good teams. I don't have to sit there and paint the picture for you. You all know what the SEC looks like. Adding Texas and Oklahoma is overkill. I don't think it's necessary. I like that that the Big 12 has its two faces being Texas and Oklahoma. I like that the SEC, the best conference in all of college football, is headlined by Alabama. But when your second and third tier teams are Georgia and LSU and Auburn and Florida, I think you're set. Now you have Alabama, LSU, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma. Texas A&M is a top 10 program regularly lately too, and Jimbo Fisher's doing great things there. That's 8. You can have 8 top 10 teams right there. If everything goes right for Oklahoma and Texas and Auburn and Georgia and Florida and LSU and Alabama, which, by the way, there's maybe Texas A&M, but Jimbo's doing his thing. You look at the recruiting rankings for the near future, they're fine. 7 of the top 10 teams would be SEC teams. Now, you're probably saying, yeah, but they would just cannibalize one another. That has yet to be a factor in the mindset of the College Football Playoff Committee to this point. How many of you were pissed off that multi-loss Georgia was still ranked ahead of undefeated Cincinnati and some of these one-loss, other Big Ten teams? Oh, it's just a bias. It's not a bias. It's common sense. I don't know why around here we get so sensitive about the fact that the SEC is pretty damn good. That the SEC, they are the best conference of college football. That the SEC, they are the face that runs the place. And until then, when we get more angry at the SEC for being the best instead of being angry at the Big Ten for not having those programs carry their weight. Imagine if Michigan State would remain a top 10 team and Michigan would be what they're supposed to be under Harbaugh, and that Penn State would not choke in big games like they traditionally do under James Franklin. We could be talking about Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State in the same way that we talk about Alabama and Georgia and LSU and Auburn. And Auburn is very average. Auburn is right there in the middle. They're they're kind of in the middle. But Georgia, from a recruiting standpoint, I mean, from recruiting, it's 1A in. I think that they're the second best recruiting team in the SEC, no doubt about it. But LSU's right up there as well. But the top three teams in the SEC, they totally outweigh the top three teams in the Big Ten. People get real defensive at the Big Ten. It's okay to say, I'm a Buckeye fan, but the conference is not very good. And it's not. It's very, very above average. It's very, very above average. The ACC is not a very good conference at all. They have Clemson, and it stops there. When your second best team is 80-year-old Mac Brown's North Carolina, you're not a very good conference. And I don't really have a lot of faith in the Tar Heels. I think it would be a good story. I'm a big Mac Brown fan, don't get me wrong, but I don't buy into this Mac Brown-led North Carolina team being a true factor when it's all said and done. So I'm not putting stock into that. We know Florida State has the potential to reemerge from the ashes a bit, if you will. We'll see what happens there. Bottom line, I don't like this Texas to Oklahoma thing. I think it's actually going to be bad. All right, less is more. And the fact that Texas and Oklahoma, Kevin and I talked about this the other day. Oklahoma has dominated that conference as far as division championships are concerned. I think I keep falling into the trap of, they win the division every year, but then when I watch them go get pounded in the college football playoff, I then look at that and say, how good were they really? And that's a bad thing for, like, people say, oh man, just getting a team to the playoff is good for a conference. Sometimes it is. Oklahoma is a regular in the college football playoff, but yet we look down at the Big 12 because we don't give the Big 12 respect for having a team in the playoff regularly. We look at them and say, yeah, your best team just got pounded again. Sometimes it's not a good, like when you make the playoff, sometimes it can be damaging, more damaging than you think. It's fiscally, suitable to make the playoff. All right. But sometimes from a reputation and from an optics standpoint, what people do is they say, man, these are the four best teams in the country. What we do is we say, that's your best team. Oklahoma, that's the Kyler Murray team that got destroyed. That's the Jalen Hurts team that got destroyed. That's your best team? Really? I don't know. I think it's a bad look. Bad look for Oklahoma, bad look for Texas. But if this is strictly about money, then I don't want to hear it when they're average programs at best. Texas is already average in a very winnable Big 12. Oklahoma recruits the hell. They're one hell of a recruiting program. Lincoln Riley kicks ass. Him and Ryan Day are the two best young coaches in college football. No doubt about it. I give the edge to Lincoln Riley for the time being, just because he's done it longer. But I think we are, once Ohio State gets one more playoff appearance and one more playoff win, I think it's pretty safe to say that the better younger coach is Ryan Day. But he's coached for 2.5 years now, 2 years. Last year's kind of half a season. Got him in the championship. That's good. 2 years now, very good recruiter. We'll see what ends up happening. So Chad Smith says that the worst part about Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12 is that Kansas now has nowhere to go. They're not a good fit for the Big 10 other than basketball. They're better than most options. I would take Kansas over Rutgers any day. Rutgers is strictly there for the stupid, New York or for the East Coast market as far as over there, which, by the way, the talks of taking the Big Ten championship game out of Indianapolis and taking it over far east to MetLife Stadium, I have a huge problem with that. Their obsession with that market is weird to me because, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But this is where when people say greed is pushing fans away, it's stuff like this. Texas, Oklahoma leaving the Big 12 to the SEC for dollars and dollars only. Oklahoma will not be a top 3 team in the SEC. They just won't. They won't. They will not be a top 3 team. They are not better than Alabama. They are not better than Georgia. And I'm not willing to say that they're better than LSU. I'm just not willing to go there. Hell, Florida. They might not even be better than Florida. Oh, but look at all the success they've had in the Big 12. Yes, because they're playing teams. You got to play Florida. You got to play LSU. You got to play Auburn. You still got to play your Texas game, which they've taken care of that. Okay, that's fine. You still got to play Texas A&M. So, and then Texas, I'm not giving them anything. They aren't squat. They are a big brand that a lot of the knocks I have on Notre Dame, they're Notre Dame, just worse. Notre Dame's at least made the playoff twice. They've at least won a conference championship, and they're not even in the damn conference. Like, Notre Dame has at least won at least got to the ACC. They didn't win the ACC championship, but they still made it to the college football playoff in the ACC. They didn't win the conference championship. My apologies, but they played in the ACC championship game. It's so crazy to me, this whole thing. I'm not a fan of it. I think this is bad for college football. Anyone out there that thinks it's good, can you explain why? Why is it good for college football? Because now what's going to happen is that's more quality opponents for the SEC. They're just going to dominate this college football playoff. They're easily going to get 5 or 6 teams in. Why not? Every year it'll be Alabama. Every year it will be Georgia. Every year it will be Oklahoma. Every year it'll be LSU. Every year it'll be Florida. Florida's very good, by the way. I don't think they're national championship good, but they're very, very good. That's 5 teams. Those 5 teams will be in the playoffs regularly. Texas A&M, I think, will be in there regularly. Texas will be in there regularly. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. Lamar Shelley says under that format, Georgia and Florida would be better to fit to join the ACC. If we're talking complete reshuffling here, I'm with you. Georgia, Florida, get them in the ACC, and then you have Georgia, you have Florida, you have Clemson. Florida State hopefully can rise up from the ashes. The U can return to whatever that little stretch was that they had in the late 90s, early 2000s. Ohio State basically put them back in their place. They haven't been the same since. I like that, Lamar. I like that. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Kev Nash out, though. He'll be back next week. The show brought to you by Orion Sports Medicine. I am pumped. Heading to Columbus here shortly to bring you the TBT on WING. I'm pretty excited about that. To call Buckeye basketball and Dayton Flyers basketball on 1410 Wing this weekend. Chad Smith says, how can the Big 12 stay in Power 5 with what's left? I'm with you. If you look at the Big 12 and the way that those are Power 5 programs, right? Like from a resource standpoint, from a revenue standpoint. But the only thing that makes them Power 5 is the TV deals. I mean, Cincinnati is doing more with less. Cincinnati is out recruiting a lot of those Big 12 teams, and they don't have half the resources that those Big 12 teams do. And if I'm Cincinnati, I don't know. I mean, it may sound sexy to move to the Big 12, but the Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma is what? Your best opponent is Iowa State now, maybe. Right? Like, what am I missing? Kansas State. Like, what are we talking? I did not mean to say Kent State. Don't rip me for that. My God. But Kansas State. I mean, let's be honest. I talked about this. Cincinnati putting Indiana on their non-conference schedule. It looks okay. I mean, it's a Big Ten opponent, but it's not a game changer. It's not a needle mover. It's not going to move the needle as far as the attention of the College Football Playoff Committee. So if you take Texas and Oklahoma out of the Big 12 and Cincinnati's there, who are those opponents that the committee is circling saying, aha, that's how we know Cincinnati's good, because they're playing them. I'm not even convinced Cincinnati's good depending on what they do with Indiana, because if they beat Indiana, it's Indiana, right? They beat Indiana, it's Indiana. If they beat Kansas State, they beat Kansas State. If they beat Kansas, they beat Kansas. They out-recruit Kansas. They should beat Kansas. So I don't know. I just don't think that there is a scenario that makes, like, it's better than the American, but UCF would actually be their best opponent every year right now if that's the Big 12 that's remaining. I don't know. I'm curious what comes of this over the next couple of days over the weekend. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Orion Sports Medicine. The TBT on WING. We're out of time. Appreciate John Diebler and Kendall Pollard for the Red Scare joining us the last couple of days. Actually, real quick, every time I try to get away, you guys pull me back in. Lamar says, put Cincinnati and UCF in the Big 12 and rebrand it. If we didn't live in Ohio, like we live in Dayton, we're very close to Cincinnati. We like Luke Fickell because of his Buckeye affiliation. So that sounds really cool to us, and I would actually like it. I would like Cincinnati and UCF, but UCF makes a lot of sense for the ACC. But they would like that Florida footprint, and Gus Malzahn being the head coach at UCF, if there was ever a time to pull that brand in, they're sexier now than they will be moving forward. I'm not against that. I don't think it's the worst in the world. I actually think the Big 12, replacing Oklahoma and Texas with Cincinnati and UCF, you're not winning that, but considering the circumstances and the teams you have to pick from, who else are you going to get? Who else are you going to replace those two teams with? You're not going to replace. Those are two of the biggest blue bloods in college football, Oklahoma and Texas. So you're not winning with Cincinnati, UCF, but of the pool of teams that you could pick from, maybe you do win when it comes to that. More TBT coverage coming your way on the other side of the break. All TBT coverage brought to you by Timothy's Bar and Grill. ESPN Dayton's home of the Dayton Flyers pregame show coming this winter, this basketball season. Sully from Talking Out Loud will be doing the WING Talking Out Loud pregame show from Timothy's Bar and Grill this upcoming season, and they wanted to be a part of our TBT coverage here, getting you set for Red Scare basketball. Red Scare tomorrow, 3 p.m. I cannot wait. But we got Ohio State's Carmen's Crew tonight, 9 o'clock. Make sure you tune in. You can also stream it live at wingam.com. More of the Justin Kinner Show next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.